The public hearing and special council meeting will now come to order. Ms. Clerk, please proceed with roll call.
Chair proceeding with roll call, Vice Chair Sugimura.
Good morning, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Councilmember Paulton.
Aloha kakayaka kako.
Councilmember Johnson.
Good morning, Chair, council members, community members. There's no testifiers at the Lanai District Office, and I'm here and ready to work. Thank you.
Councilmember Rollins Fernandez.
Aloha kakahiaka chair, aloha kakahiaka kako. Happy to be here in person. There's currently no testifiers at the Molokai District Office. Mahalo.
Councilmember Cook.
Aloha, good morning. And there's currently no testifiers in the Kehi office, but we have staff on standby. Thank you.
Councilmember Hodgins.
Excused.
Councilmember Sinensi.
Excused. When is he coming? Does anybody know?
I haven't heard from him, Chair.
Okay.
And Council Chair Alice Lee.
Good morning.
Chair, you have 6 members present, 2 excused. There is a quorum to conduct the business of the council. For the record, I am the County Clerk, Moana Ludi. Also present from my office are Legislative Division staff, Lauren Saldana, Del Yoshida, and Chris Minford. Joining the meeting from the Office of Council Services is Director David Rotz and Legislative Attorney Carla Nakata. From the Department of the Corporation Counsel is Corporation Counsel Victoria Takayesu and Deputy Corporation Counsel Kirsten Tarnstrom.
Okay. Before we proceed with the public hearing and special council meeting, may I please request that everyone keep their microphones muted unless it's your turn to speak. As a reminder, testimony must pertain to the item on the agenda. When testifying, please direct your remarks to the council and not to any individual council member or member of the public. Each testifier will be allowed to speak for up to 3 minutes. For individuals wishing to testify on Teams, please click the raise your hand button to be added to the testifier log. If you are calling in, please follow the phone prompts to be added to the log. Decorum shall be maintained at all times. Any person who behaves in a manner that disrupts, disturbs, or impedes the orderly conduct of any council meeting can, at the discretion of the presiding officer or a majority of present council members, be ejected or banned from council meetings, or if participating remotely, muted or dropped from the meeting. Examples of disruptive behavior include, but are not limited to, heckling, shouting, use of profanity, threatening, or slanderous remarks made to any member of the council, staff, or general public. All meeting attendees, whether online or in person, are expected to wear clothing which should not display profanity, obscenity, or any message that could be considered discriminatory, harassing, or inappropriate for these proceedings. Ms. Clerk, please proceed.
Thank you, Chair. At this time, we will take public testimony on Bill 9. Chair, the first testifier is Leslie Brown, to be followed by Emmanuel Baltazar.
Good morning, Chair Lee and council members. I am Leslie Brown, and I'm here once again to respectfully ask that you vote no on Bill 9. I do not think it will produce the long-term housing being hoped for. One of my big concerns right now is that Blackstone is buying Alexander and Baldwin. In other areas, Blackstone has gone in and started buying up properties. They become the landlord that people would be renting from. The passage of Bill 9 throws many properties into a lawsuit. Banks will not loan money on a property involved in a lawsuit. That means only cash buyers can purchase. Some people may not want to wait out a lawsuit and would be prime candidates to sell to Blackstone. I'm asking that if Bill 9 does pass, all these properties are those properties that meet the criteria identified in the TIG, whether named in Exhibit 2 or not, be included in the schedule of properties permitted to continue short-term rentals in the new hotel zone Council is creating. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Questions, members? If not, thank you. Next testifier.
Chair, the next testifier is Emmanuel Baltazar, to be followed by Jorosato Martinez Jr.
Distinguished and respected members of the council, under the able leadership of Council Member Lee, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
I am Emmanuel Baltasar, a full-time officer of ILWU Maui Division, advisor of long and a very active Filipino organization in Maui, the Locutory Association of Maui, and affiliated in all Filipino organizations in Maui. I stand here strong and firm to support Bill 9. I know the intent for this. I've been a hotel worker for 18 years, most of my family working in the hotel industry. My wife retired with disability in hotel for housekeeping job for 35 years. I would like to extend my full gratitude and sincere thanks to Honorable Mayor Richard T. Bison Jr. for doing this for the Bill 9. This is the right thing to do. We are no schedules in the hotels because of these all short-term rentals. They should be going to the hotels, all these people, so that we are working in the hotels should have schedules. We are struggling for schedules, especially it's the season coming this December, first week of December and everything, February, last week of January. Bill 9, I emphasize it, council members, this is the top priority of ILWU Local 142. This is our top priority to help us out. We have individual differences with all these things, but for us, these are our top priority. Personally, and in behalf of ILW family, including our families, I would like to thank Council Member Sinense, Council Member Hagins, Council Member Rollins, Council Member Johnson, and Council Member Paltin for supporting this for the mayor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any questions? If, Member Cook.
Thank you, Mr. Baltazar. So do you feel that basically by Bill 9 passing, the people who are currently staying in the TVRs will start going to the hotels instead?
Yes, please.
Okay,
This is the best way to do it.
okay. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
No more questions. Thank you. May we have the next testifier, please?
The next testifier is Jorosato Martinez Jr., to be followed by Jacqueline Tavares.
Member of the council headed by Council Chair Alice Lee. Good morning, everyone. My name is Honorato Martinez Jr., ILWU Local 142 Political Action Committee Chairman and a front desk agent at the Kanapali LEE for 15 years. I stand before you today to give my full support of Bill 9. I know that this bill will help us, thousands of hotel workers, including our families. After the fire, I see a lot of my coworkers, they don't have a place to stay. And some move out of this island. So it's just frustrating living in this island, they said. So I give a full support. Let this bill pass and implement it. Thank you.
Questions, members? If not, may we have the next testifier, please? Thank you.
Chair, the next testifier is Jacqueline Tavares, to be followed by William Forsythe.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Tavares. I am a full-time business agent for the ILWU Local 142 Maui Division. I come from the hospitality industry, and I've worked for Maui Lu for 8 years and Hotel Wailea for 10. I am in support of Bill 9, which will help the hotel workers, including our families. Thank you.
Questions, members? If not, may we have the next testifier, please?
Chair, the next testifier is William Forsythe, to be followed by Merlinda Valdez.
Good morning, Chair Lee, council members. Thank you for hearing my testimony today. I'm William Forsyth, former boat captain, Lahaina, 4 Maui-born children. 2 of them lost everything in the fire. We like to say Maui no ka'oi. Maui is the best. Why is Maui the best? Is it our beaches, our great sunsets, super weather? I feel like it's the people. I feel it's the people of Maui. We have beautiful people, friendly people, community-minded people. You see that everywhere. We have family people. So many keiki here on Maui. Our people are the best. Let's love and treat them the best we can. Our people deserve to be treated with love, respect, and dignity. That means housing. Apartment zoning was intended for our people. Tonight, there'll be thousands of hotel-zoned condominiums that are empty. Occupancies are low in hotel-zoned condominiums and hotel rooms. I believe the passage of Bill 9 will increase hotel-zoned occupancy rates from where they're at currently, maybe 60%, which I don't know if that's profitable, to maybe 90%, which would be fantastic. I believe the passage of Bill 9 will increase job opportunities in hotel-zoned hotels and condominiums that are hotel-zoned. I believe the passage of Bill 9 will increase revenues for our county in hotel-zoned hotel rooms and hotel-zoned condominiums. Ohana means family. Let's put our family first. I humbly ask the entire council to unanimously vote for Bill 9. Show our community we're unified in this. Let's return apartment-zoned properties back to their original intended purpose for our people. Maui no ka'oi.
Questions, members? If not, thank you very much. May we have the next testifier, please?
Chair, the next testifier is Merlinda Valdez, to be followed by Delilah Salcedo.
Good morning, Council
Morning.
Chair Alice Lee and Council members, and good morning, everyone. I am Merlina Valdez, PAC Chair for the ILWU Pensioners Club, and I came here to ask everyone in support of Bill 9. I work at the Granuelia for 28 years, and before that, I work at the Maui Marriott Lahaina for 10 years in the tourism industry. So I hope that this Bill 9 will be unanimously passed. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? If not, may we have the next testifier?
Chair, the next testifier is Delilah Salcedo, to be followed by Delia Badua.
Good morning, Miss Chairman and all the councils. I am Delilah Salcedo, a president of the ILWU Local 142 Pensioners Club of Maui. I am here to support the Bill 9 because I know so many friends that they are sacrificing for the rent, and you cannot able to afford for the living because of these problems that we have. So I advise you guys to support the Bill 9, and thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, members? Vice Chair Sugimura?
Sorry, could I ask your name again, please? Or somebody could just tell me.
It's Delilah Salcedo.
Thank you.
Chair, the next testifier is Delia Badua, to be followed by Richard Prata.
Aloha, good morning, everyone. My name is Delia Buduan. I'm the Assistant Secretary of the ILWU Maui Pensioners Club. I am here to support Bill 9. I am a mother of 3, and it pains me to see my children moving around because they cannot afford rent. My youngest just moved out from this apartment here in Wailuku, and I can't believe myself that she was paying $4,000 for a 3-bedroom apartment. And now she just moved out. She was able to get a place here up Kehalani, up by the prison. But so, what's going on in Maui, I think is very painful right now, especially of what happened in Lahaina. So I'm here to support Bill 9, and I pray and hope that it will be passed. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Questions, members? No questions?
Chair, the next testifier is Richard Prata, to be followed by Lynette Pendergast.
Aloha, I'm Richard Prada. I'm in support of Bill 9. Over 35 years ago, I've said this before, we bought a condo here on the west side to live in. I still live there. Over the years, little by little, when I first moved there, a lot of owners lived there. And it was a real nice community feel. Over the years, we have over 100 condos there. Now, 10 are occupied by owners. So over the years, more and more short-term rentals came in. And I think what happens is people rent the rooms, which is great, and maybe they forget to read the fine print. And we have a lot of bylaws and stuff that they spend a lot of money to stay there for a week. So they basically figure they can do what they want. And I can understand that. You know, you spend all that money. But I'm going to give 2 examples. I could stand here for an hour giving examples of situations, and me as a person who lives there, and I consider that my home. One night, I was asleep on the couch after work, and if you've ever heard the term scared to death, I got scared to death. I woke up, all of a sudden, someone was standing in my living room with their suitcases and backpack on. And I'm like, what? I lost it. And I chased the person out. And another example, like I say, I could give many, another example of them not reading the fine print. We're a non-smoking property. So my mother lives there also time to time. And I came home from work one night, and I walk in the condo, and it reeks of weed. I mean, just reeks. And I go over to my mom's bedroom, and I go, "What, Mom, you're smoking weed now?" And she's like, "Huh, what?" She didn't even know. And I'm like, "Mom, this place reeks of weed. What is going on?" And all I did was step out through her lanai and look to the lanai next door. And the lanai next door is right there. That's how close it is. And there's a guy with dreadlocks and his wife sitting there smoking a big spliff right on the balcony. I'm like, "Rah, this is a non-smoking property, and you're smoking weed, and my 95-year-old mother is going into her room." Those are just 2 examples of many. But there's also positive. I also help people jump their cars, short-term people that they leave their lights on or whatever. If I see them, I don't ask them if they're short-term rentals or not. And I'll go down there and jump them with my truck. But Anyway,
Time.
I'm in support of Bill 9.
Any questions? If not, may we have the next testifier, please?
Chair, the next testifier is Lynette Pendergast, to be followed by Bree Matthews.
Good morning. Aloha, Chair Lee, Vice Chair Sugimura, and council members. My name is Lynette Pendergast, and I am the president of the Realtors Association of Maui. To be clear, RAM supports the production of housing at all levels for Maui residents. We acknowledge the intent of Bill 9 and share the goal of increasing long-term housing. However, due to the many unintended consequences of this proposal, RAM respectfully recommends that the council adopt the Temporary Investigative Group, or TIG, recommendations prior to implementing Bill 9. Our primary concern is the procedural uncertainty created by advancing Bill 9 before the key policies and zoning changes recommended by the TIG are in place. Proceeding in this sequence creates a significant policy gap that exposes the county to economic risk and legal liability. Bill 9 would effectively eliminate lawful TVR use in apartment districts without providing a clear or timely pathway for property owners to apply for new land use designations or to continuing operating legally. This uncertainty invites administrative backlogs, inconsistent enforcement, and potential litigation from property owners seeking relief through the courts. RAM urges the council to first adopt the TIG's recommendations to establish H3 and H4 hotel districts, which would allow continued TVR operations, appropriate areas, while preserving residential zones for long-term housing. We also support streamlining land use and rezoning procedures to reduce costs and delays, strengthening enforcement against illegal TVRs, to increase housing availability without penalizing compliant operators, and expanding rental assistance programs for local residents. Additionally, we encourage the county to expedite permit approvals and to align infrastructure investments with housing development goals. Maui's housing challenges require a comprehensive, systems-based approach, not a single measure implemented out of order. For these reasons, RAM remains gravely concerned that Bill 9, as currently drafted, will negatively impact Maui's economy, restrict property owners' rights, and result in insufficient reentry of housing units into the long-term market. Accordingly, RAM opposes Bill 9 in its current form and respectfully requests that the measure be deferred indefinitely unless amended to reduce these negative impacts. Mahalo for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you. Questions, members? Member Johnson.
Thank you, Chair. Just a quick clarifying question in regards to the timing. It's either 3 or 5 years. Is that not enough time to be prepared?
Until the H3 and H4 is implemented and we see it, that's our concern. Is I hear over and over again, it's going to happen, it's going to happen, it's going to happen, and I'm going to hope that it happens. But hope only goes so far.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for answering my question. Thank you, Chair.
Any other questions? If not, may we have the next testifier, please?
Chair, the next testifier is Bree Matthews, to be followed by McKenna Woodward.
Chair and council members, thank you for listening to my testimony. My name is Bree Matthews. I'm a Maui resident and short-term rental owner, and I strongly oppose Bill 9. Let's talk revenue. We know phasing out short-term rentals will result in the loss of millions of dollars to Maui. What I've yet to hear is any viable financial plan to replace those funds. The reality is that without that revenue, Maui will face a devastating economic blow. Short-term rentals already contribute enormously to Maui. And this isn't based on opinions or assumptions. It's based on the county's own financial documents and audit reports. According to the County of Maui, revenue from visitor accommodations taxes, which includes income from legally permitted short-term rentals, is one of the county's main and highest revenue sources. Current county budget documents show that the county lists the transient accommodations tax, TAT, as a major component of the general fund. For fiscal year 2022, when the 3% county level tax MCTAT began, the county recognized over $56.9 million in TAT revenue on its financial statements. Even with collection delays, the county auditor confirmed about $40 million had been deposited by June 30th, 2022, demonstrating how large this revenue stream truly is. But that's just the income tax revenue. Let's talk property taxes. Property tax revenue. In the fiscal year 2025, real property tax revenue estimated at $246.3 million, or 42% of the county's property revenue. That doesn't even take into consideration the loss of 14,126 jobs, annual reductions of $1.767 billion in tourism money, $747.7 million in employee earnings, and $137.6 million in tax revenue. Millions of those tax revenue dollars provide the funding for building affordable housing, which equated to roughly $33 million between 2019 and 2024. One study estimates that if all Maui short-term rental properties were reclassified at residential rates, property tax revenues from those properties could drop by $82.8 million to $235.4 million, depending on how many end up as long-term or owner-occupied instead of short-term rental. My question to all of you is, what is the plan to replace jobs? What is the plan to replace revenue? What is the plan to fund affordable housing when all these revenue streams dry up? Is there a plan at all to handle this financial fallout? This bill feels like a Band-Aid over the Lahaina tragedy, which was a true tragedy, but is meant to distract us all from real solutions, and they will only cripple Maui. Thank you for your time.
Questions, Member Paulton?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Ms. Matthews. I just wanted to clarify the numbers that you cited in the projected loss is in relation to all short-term rentals, not those identified solely by Bill 9?
I believe it's solely by Bill 9, but I have it, the source written here. If you want it, I can leave this with you guys and you can.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Any more questions? If not, thank you very much. May we have the next testifier, please?
Chair, the next testifier is McKenna Woodward, to be followed by Rachel Coles.
Again.
Aloha, Chair, Vice. Oh,
all right.
Thank you. Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the Council. My name is McKenna Woodward, testifying on behalf of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. OHA supports Bill 9 and urges its passage without exemptions. Bill 9 is necessary to phase out transient vacation rentals in apartment districts. Over time, many of these districts have become de facto hotel corridors, displacing local families and undermining their residential purpose. UHERO has found unaffordable housing drives out migration, homelessness, and families being priced out of Hawaii. In 2022 alone, more than 67,000 Hawaii residents moved to other states, with housing costs cited as a leading cause, and more Native Hawaiians now live on the continent than in Hawaii. Bill 9 is a necessary course correction that prioritizes residents over speculation. UHERO's March 2025 analysis estimates that phasing out TVRs in apartment districts could return up to 6,127 units to the long-term housing stock. That represents a 13% increase in housing supply, equivalent to roughly a decade of new housing development without new construction. UHERO projects condo prices could decrease by 20 to 40%, reflecting a market correction that improves access for residents. The study further finds about 85% of these TVRs are owned by out-of-state investors. UHERO also models potential economic impacts, including reduced visitor spending, job losses, and a possible decline in real GDP. However, these projections are highly sensitive to assumptions and rely on gross tourism spending that does not account for revenue flowing off island. When most units are owned by out-of-state investors, much of the projected loss was never circulating in Maui's local economy to begin with. Returning these units to long-term residential use restores housing to its intended purpose and supports a more stable, locally rooted economy. This stability is especially critical after the Lahaina fires, with many Ohana still displaced and searching for permanent housing. In this context, allowing residential zoned units to operate as visitor accommodations is simply untenable. Every unit returned to long-term use is a real opportunity for a family to come home. Bill 9 is narrowly tailored and applies only to apartment districts. It does not eliminate tourism or prohibit rentals in areas properly zoned for them. This is not an attack on tourism, but a zoning correction grounding in long-standing land use authority. OHA supports passage of Bill 9 in its current form and urges the council not to weaken it with further exemptions. With strong enforcement and accountability, Bill 9 can meaningfully restore housing security for Maui's people. Mahalo nui for the opportunity to testify, and I am available for questions.
Questions, members? If not, thank you very much. May we have the next testifier, please?
Chair, the next testifier is Rachel Coles, to be followed by Jordan Hawker.
Hi, thank you. My name is Rachel Coles. Thank you to the council for this opportunity. I worked with Lahaina fire survivors. I am here in support of Bill 9. At least 12,000 residents were displaced by the Lahaina fire, and at least 2,000 homes were lost. As of 2024, there were at least 5,000 residents still displaced, and as of 2025, there were still many families displaced or transitioning, including some of our best friends. And by 2025, many families had started leaving Maui because of lack of housing and lack of affordability. While we've heard concerns about economic downturns because of loss of short-term rentals, this is a known volatile industry vulnerable to catastrophic events. During COVID, we learned that it was important to diversify methods of bringing income into Maui to make it less vulnerable to economic instability. We've watched and experienced personally the loss of families to the mainland, loss of community and culture, like many musicians who cannot afford to stay, and other, cultural practitioners and friends and community, many who take their invaluable cultural knowledge with them. Maui County has an obligation to take care of its residents. We cannot look to short-sighted economics at the expense of residents who live and work on Maui. Not only is that wrong, but it is ultimately self-sabotaging. Bill 9 helps to preserve cultural, social, and community capital, which is as important as money, by preserving housing for residents in need. Please vote yes on Bill 9. Thank you.
Questions, members? If not, thank you very much.
Chair, the next testifier is Jordan Hawker, to be followed by Daniel Perez.
Aloha and good morning, Chair Lee, council members. My name is Jordan Hawker. I am a co-founding member of the Maui Housing Hui, which is an organization that's been in front of you before. We push for the advance of renters' equity. Today, I'm here to remind you that there is a direct causal relationship, as you've heard about this relationship, between STR saturation and the cost of rental prices. I'd like to jog this governing body's memory. During budget season, we were in front of you talking about what it would take to make sure that all of Maui's renters weren't in rent burden status. What that means is they're paying 30 to 50% of their housing costs out of their income. That's not sustainable. When we came in front of you, we said that 37 to 42% of renters, about half of those are considered rent burden. They're paying 30% or more of their income towards their housing costs, and we calculated that it would cost approximately $26 million per district to raise those renters out of rent burden status. Now, there may be many reasons as to why our costs are high. Sure, we have a low density issue, we have a permitting issue, but since the time of the Minatoya ruling and Airbnb coming to power, so to speak, we've had entire neighborhoods wiped out because the return on investment was too hot. And you'll hear that theme again and again and again. And so I want to bring it that it is not just rooted in people's anecdotal experience, it is rooted in the data. If you look at Housing Hawaii Factbook from UHERO, you'll find these same themes repeated again and again and again. Our people cannot afford to live here, and it is partially because people could not deny that return on investment. I'd like to remind this body that some 90% of these owners do not live in Maui County. They don't live with the conditions that we live with every single day. They don't worry about how they're going to pay their rent. They don't worry about their neighbors becoming unhoused, their coworkers who work in hotels, or their children not being able to afford to live here. They don't live that every single day, and we do. And so the reason that so many of us are in front of you today is because you're at a precipice with your decision. And I know that I say this a lot to this body, but you get to choose who you're going to support. Will it be the working class, or will it be people who have no idea what it's like to walk in our shoes? Will it be us, or an industry that has quite disrespectfully paid for ad after ad after ad to mislead our public on Bill 9? We don't have that kind of money. We're living on a shoestring. And so I ask you today to support Maui's renters, to support Maui's survivors, and pass Bill 9. Thank you.
Members, questions? If not, thank you.
Chair, the next
Do you have a
testifier
question?
is
Not a question for the testifier. Although, mahalo for your testimony. There's a realtor in here with a camera, and as part of decorum, I'd like to ask that if folks that have cameras to not put it into the faces of people that are just sitting in the gallery. I understand if video footage will be taken of folks that are providing testimony and then of the entire gallery, but it's inconsiderate to put cameras up in people's faces when they're just sitting in the gallery. So if I could just make that request. Mahalo, Chair.
Okay. Members, we'll take a 5-minute recess. Will the public hearing and special council meeting please reconvene? We're on testimony. Let the record show that we now have Member Senensi with us. Good morning.
Aloha, Chair. Sorry for my tardiness. There was
no
a
problem.
lot of tourists on the road this morning. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Well, don't tell the ILW that. Okay, so everyone, I'm going to read you some of the rules. Our standards of decorum. While a meeting is in progress, the disruptive use of cell phones or any other noise-making devices is prohibited. Conversations in the gallery and the lobby should be conducted in a manner that does not disturb others in the chamber. Photographs and video recordings may be taken from the gallery without flash or lamps if it does not distract others or detract from the proceedings. So I would like to remind everyone to please be careful not to do anything that will distract or cause disruptions, like taking photos and disrupting people, especially if they're not inclined to receive those photographs. I mean, you know, those pictures.
Right, like when they're breastfeeding. That's just wrong. Mahalo, Chair.
Yeah. Okay, what we'd like to do is continue with testimony as efficiently as we can. This is second reading for Bill 9. We'll finish with the testimony, we'll take the vote, and we'll happily all go home. That's the plan. That's the plan now. Let's all stick to the plan. Ms. Clerk, Vice Chair, you have a question.
Yeah, how many testifiers do we have?
Ms. Clerk.
We currently have 29 signed up, and we are on number 15.
Thank you.
Yeah, so try not to ask long questions, number one. And for those testifying, believe me, we've heard everything already, every aspect of this bill, but you're more than welcome to repeat it if you want to. But the main thing is that we all go home safe and sound, and you know, some will be disappointed, some will be happy, but we'll be done. And that's important that we finish today. We have some members that may have to leave. So we want all the members present to continue to be present, but if we keep getting more and more testifiers, then it's not going to happen, okay? I mean, the last thing we want to do is recess this meeting and postpone it for another time. That's the last thing we want to do. Okay, Ms. Clerk, who is the next testifier?
Chair, the next testifier is Daniel Perez, to be followed by Lucrecia Ayala.
Good morning.
Morning.
Okay, my testimony doesn't have to do anything with this bill. I'm here.
But it has to be on the bill.
And no, it doesn't have to do with this bill. This is about violence against women in this island that's happening right now.
Okay, we cannot accept that testimony because we can only accept testimony that is on the agenda, that's related to items on the agenda, even though it might be important.
It's super important. There's
I know
3
it's
women that are being chased by one guy, and right now we're trying to get the prosecutor office to get to protect them. They told them 45 days for them to hear their cases. If
All right, I'm going to have to
any
call
of them die,
another recess.
it's on your shoulders.
Yes, okay, I realize
There's
that.
3 women that right now they're at risk. And I'm bringing this to you guys because this guy is been preying in women in this island. 75
Okay, I'm going to
cases.
call another recess, 5 minutes.
If anyone...
Will the meeting, public hearing and meeting please reconvene?
Chair, the next testifier is Lucretia Ayala, to be followed by Caitlin Miller.
Okay, I'd like to ask you to try and keep your testimonies, concise if possible, and so we can move on with the business of the day and not keep you, because we've had a record number of recesses today, and it's really nobody's fault. All these things are happening to us. And so, like I said, we welcome your testimony, we welcome your presence, but we do want to get through with this rather contentious bill today and before lunch if possible. Okay. Ms. Clerk, who did you call?
I called Lucretia Ayala, to be followed by Caitlin Miller.
Lucretia online, or where is she?
She's supposed to be in person.
In person.
Guess
We
she
don't
left.
see her.
No. All right.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the next testifier is Caitlin Miller, to be followed by Ms. Kili'ikoa.
By who?
Ms. Kili'ikoa will be after Caitlin Miller.
Okay.
Aloha Chair, Vice Chair, and Council members. My name is Caitlin Miller, and I'm testifying on behalf of Maui Vacation Rental Association. I won't restate the data today. It is already in the record. The economic studies, workforce impacts, and revenue implications have been clearly and consistently presented over the past year and a half. Instead, I want to speak what this moment represents. From the beginning, there has been shared agreement on one thing. We want housing for Maui residents. We want families to stay. We want a future that works for people who live and work here. That has never been the disagreement. As this chapter of Bill 9 comes to a close, hopefully today, it is difficult to ignore that this process has often felt driven by politics rather than policy. Despite a full and well-documented record, we are moving forward without certainty that housing will be created on the other side, or that impacts to owners, workers, small businesses, and local livelihoods will be adequately addressed. For the owners and workers I represent, this is not abstract. These are people who followed the rules, paid the taxes, and built their lives around policies the county itself put into place. Today may close one chapter of Bill 9, but it does not resolve the issue before us. This decision will continue to be examined well beyond today's vote. How we move forward from here will matter just as much as how we arrived at this moment. Our hope is that what comes next is grounded in data, transparency, and collaboration. Regardless of today's outcome, our community remains engaged and ready to be constructive partners in solutions that truly work. Solutions that build homes, protect jobs, and avoid creating harm while trying to solve an existing crisis. For the record, and on behalf of Maui Vacation Rental Association, we continue to oppose Bill 9. Mahalo for your time and the opportunity to be heard.
Questions, members? If not, thank you very much. Next testifier.
Chair, the next testifier is Leana I Kaio'olani o Maui, Kili'ikoa.
Let the record show that we have another council member here today, Nohilani Uhajans.
Oh, and she will be followed by Terry Zager. Sorry.
Ua mau ke ea o ka aina I ka pono. I stand before you today, and I mahalo all of you that are here. I have been born and raised here on the island of Maui. I support Bill 9, and I tell you why. My kupuna, my ancestors that I carry with me today, they wanted me to be here to speak for the people. I appreciate those that have come and have done their due diligence to be able to express. I understand diversity, I do. I appreciate diversity, but I also understand po Hawaii. If you were here and you were voted to be for the people, I appreciate if you go and you vote yes, Bill 9 for the people. Mahalo.
Thank you. Are there any questions, members? If not, thank you very much. May we have the next testifier, please?
The next testifier is Terry Zager, to be followed by Jerome Bosch. Ms. Zager is online. Ms. Zager.
Yes, hello. I'm sorry I wasn't ready just yet because I didn't hear my name prior to, but thank you so much for the opportunity to speak again. I have spoken in chambers before and also submitted online testimony. And what I would like to say is my name is Terry. I'm sorry I'm not there. My father passed away this last week, and I needed to be back with my family. This is a very important issue to me and to a lot of people. Obviously, I own a one-bedroom, 500 square foot condominium in Ma'alaya. We have one parking stall and no storage. Our community itself is not designed for local families. We don't have any facilities other than a grocery store and a fast food restaurant. No schools, no churches, no playgrounds. We don't even have a municipal or regional sewer system. And in my opinion, I would not want to live there for my family. It wouldn't be a good place to raise my children. And I know that Lahaina Strong is in the room, and I want to say that I really appreciate your efforts, your diligence, your commitment to opening up the eyes of not only our community, but the entire country to the needs, the housing needs in particular, for the local Maui people. I have to say that we all agree that there has to be a solution. I would like to offer my condo to any of those Lahaina Strong members in the room and not in the room in the year 2030 as an acceptable, hopefully acceptable living space for their families. And if there's anyone that would like to talk to me about that, I'm open to that. I would love to be able to help you. But having said that, I can't offer that now because I'm not allowed to talk to anybody really and present anything to anyone in the room. But keep that in mind. I pay about $30,000 a year in taxes, various different taxes to the county. Unfortunately, I have no say in how that money is spent, because if I did, we would have plenty of housing for our local people. This wouldn't be an issue at all. My cost to just own this property is about $3,200 a month. And of course, I couldn't offer it for rent any less than that, because then it would be costing me money. So anyone who is interested in that, please let me know. Council members, you've done a fabulous job, and I know how hard you've worked and the heartbreak and the sleepless nights that you've endured, and I appreciate that very much. I encourage you to consider my home as a not viable alternative, but I'm opening it up to the community for that purpose. I encourage you to vote no on Bill 9 because it is not a solution to this problem. And if we can put this bill to rest and move on.
Thank you.
Real solutions, that's what I encourage you to do. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Members, do you have any questions? If not, thank you very much. Next testifier.
Chair, the next testifier is Jerome Bosch, to be followed by Jenny Hendricks.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, council members. My name is Jerome Bosch, and I'm here once again to testify and in opposition of Bill 9. The first two times I came here, I spoke about how the bill was affecting me, my wife, our business, and our ability to live here. But I felt like it didn't have much of an impact, so I'm just going to forget about me for today and just talk about what the bill is supposed to do and if it's working or not. So Bill 9 is supposed to increase housing options, putting properties back in the hands of local residents. So, but with our business being 30 to 40% down since the fires, I do a lot of handyman jobs and to stay afloat. And a few days ago, I was asked to help on a small construction project in a condo in Kihei. So it's a unit with a 1 bed, 1 bath, 538 square feet, built in 1972. I met with the owner who just bought the place. So as I knew that sales were pretty slow these days, I was curious and I checked into it a little bit more. And here's what I found out. So the condo is on the ministerial list. And its peak around the end of 2024, it was valued at about $575,000. It was listed for sale in February of 2025 for $523,000, so that was already a decrease of 9%. And it sat on the market until a few weeks ago when it finally sold for $332,000. That's a 42% drop compared to its peak value. So this unit was previously owned by Canadians and was used as a legal vacation rental for years. So this was a perfect opportunity for a local resident to buy this property at a lower price than it had been in a long time and make sure it was no longer used as an STR. But guess what? Not a single local buyer has made an offer. So after sitting for 10 months, it's now owned by someone from Washington State and who's planning on keeping it as a vacation rental for as long as they legally can. So I'm not a real estate agent, but I can't imagine this is a one-off situation. So I think it just emphasizes the fact that these units, that local residents basically just don't want to live in them because it could have been off the market, off the STR market. So all I'm asking you today basically is when you deliberate and you vote on this bill, just think of all the businesses and local residents this bill will affect, all the chaos and lawsuit that we're going to see after this, and then decide if it's really worth the sacrifice, because in the end, I just don't think this bill is going to do what it says it's going to do.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Members, are there any questions? If not, thank you very much.
Chair, the next testifier is Jenny Hendricks, who is online, to be followed by Bob Clifford.
Morning.
Hi there, I'm Jenny Hendricks. Hi. I want to begin by acknowledging something that I feel like is important. This council didn't create Maui's housing situation. The lack of affordable and attainable housing for local residents has been decades in the making, and it's been a long process to get here. However, this council now has the responsibility and the opportunity to decide whether the next steps actually will help Maui's local residents or unintentionally make their situation even harder. Bill 9 places you in an incredibly difficult position, one you did not create. But the approach it takes matters, especially for the people who keep Maui running: teachers, healthcare workers, service employees, contractors, and small business workers and staff. At its core, Bill 9 does not create housing for the local workforce. Affordability and attainability improve only when supply increases. That means zoning changes that actually allow more units to be built, incentives that make construction financially feasible, targeted subsidies for tenants and homeowners, and a coordinated strategy that recognizes housing and the economy are inseparable. Instead, Bill 9 reallocates existing housing by changing permitted uses and property rights. While well-intentioned, this approach does not increase supply. And when supply remains constrained, prices and rents continue to rise. And that is exactly what is hurting the local workforce. When housing supply is limited, local residents and the workforce suffer. Affordability does not come from redistributing scarcity. It would be great if this crisis could be solved simply by shifting property rights from one group to another, but it cannot. If that were the solution, every community across the country with affordable housing issues would have implemented it, but it doesn't work. It comes from increasing housing inventory. The hard truth is this: policies that reduce certainty for property owners and small landlords discourage future investment, including investment in long-term rental housing that local workers depend on. Bill 9 may feel like a necessary response to an urgent situation, but urgency should not push us towards solutions that sound helpful, yet fail in practice. The harder and more effective path forward is clear: zoning that allows more housing units, incentives that make workforce housing financially viable, partnerships with developers and employers, targeted support for residents who need help now. Housing policy and economic policy are inseparable. Please don't take away current jobs without having alternative industry. Without adequate housing, tourism jobs go unfulfilled, small businesses suffer, and Maui's local workforce shrinks. This council did not cause this crisis, but you can choose to pivot to real solutions. For council members who are rightly concerned about the local workforce, I urge you to ask one simple question: does Bill 9 actually create housing for the people who work here? It doesn't. It's time to pause, reconsider, and focus on policies that do. Please oppose Bill 9 and instead commit to policies that increase the housing supply, protect economic stability, and create real lasting affordability for Maui residents. Thank you.
Members, any questions? If not, thank you very much. And guess what? We have to take another recess. Okay, we're having a technical problem.
Yeah, we need
So
to restart our
to
camera.
10:29, reconvene at 10:29. Will the public hearing and special council meeting please reconvene of December 15th, 2025? Ms. Clerk.
Chair, the next testifier is Bob Clifford, who is online, to be followed by Paul Carter. Bob Clifford.
Go to the next one. Go to the next one. We can always come back to
Yeah,
him.
we'll come back. The next testifier is Paul Carter, to be followed by Allison Hendrickson.
Aloha kako. Aloha ho. Going to use notes for the first time. I want to speak to you, council members, as well as all the testifiers equally. I'm here to celebrate the passage of Bill 9. It's been a long time in coming. It's been more than 2 years, that we've been talking about this and trying to work together and work out something. There has been a lot of talk about, don't do it now because it's so fast. We need time to do this, do that. We should have these plans in place. Well, as I recall, the original bill actually was, I think it was 2 to 3 years, what it was proposed, or 1 even. Yeah. And it's already way past that time, now we're at, and now we're talking 5 years. I mean, that's a huge compromise already, and that's quite a bit of time. What should we do with that time, 5 years? I hear all this crying about, we need more time. Well, what I want to say is to you council members and to you testifiers, if we are sincere about affordable housing, about diversifying the economy and the agriculture, diversifying economy, jobs, sincere about that, then what we should be doing after we pass Bill 9 is focusing our energy not on lawsuits, focusing our energy on how do we diversify the economy here. Because tourism, it's like sugar, yeah? Tastes good, it's easy, it's quick, so you can make a lot on it. You can bake a lot of things, but it doesn't serve the health of the body. It just doesn't do that. It's not sustainable either, as we saw like during the COVID time. Yeah, poop. Diversifying our economy to a more real land-based economy is essential. That's where we should be focusing our energy now. And that includes, of course, you want more housing. You say, we want more affordable housing. Let's get more housing. Well, of course, that means water. That's the number one thing. You think, let's just build more houses, but no. Water, land first, yeah? So we got to focus on that. And let's please come together. I really invite you, because it's all good people here, yeah? All good people. Let's come together and focus on that, yeah? And yes, it is going to mean the death of some of the tourism. Not the end of it, but it's going to be maybe smaller and a death of some kinds of tourism. And that's going to hurt some, okay? But we need that. It's just like cutting out a cancer. Yeah? You can't just let it keep growing. You got to stop it. And then look at how do we make the body healthy again. That's what we're doing here with Bill 9. So I want to thank you so much for listening to all this for these several years now. And let's celebrate the passage, and that's not the end. Let's really pull our energy together and look at, and how do we support diversified economy. Thank you so much.
Members, questions? If not, thank you. May we have the next testifier?
Chair, the next testifier is Allison Hendrickson, and then we'll go back to Bob Clifford.
Aloha, Chair, council members, and fellow community members. First and foremost, I'm against Bill 9 as it is written. My name is Allison Hendrickson, and I own and operate a small shave ice business in Kihei. I'm not a vacation rental owner. I rely on Hawaii's visitors, many of whom stay in condos and short-term rentals in Kihei, to keep my business alive. I'm speaking today to share how deeply a restriction like Bill 9 will hurt the entire local economy, including businesses like mine, and to ask you to consider the broader impacts before moving forward. A law like Bill 9, which would reduce or eliminate short-term rentals, doesn't only affect property owners, it affects all of us who rely on the ripple effect of travelers, including grocery stores, restaurants, tour operators, retail shops, entertainment, transportation services, and yes, a small shave ice spot like mine. Each business plays a role. When one falls, the wave reaches many others. Reducing visitor stays will reduce demand for local goods and services, leading to less income, fewer hours for employees, and potentially business closures. I'm a local resident. My employees are local residents. We pay taxes, we live here, we support community events, and we are part of Maui's economy. When our business suffers, that doesn't just hit investors, it hits real families, workers, and local livelihoods. Policies that impact tourism need to weigh those consequences carefully. I understand the concerns around housing and community change. This isn't just happening on Maui. In the 20 years that I've lived on Maui, there has been very little building of affordable housing. I've seen plenty of luxury homes being built, but the lack of affordable housing has been an obvious concern. I've had the privilege of being evicted 4 times because the rental I was living in got sold. I've felt the problem of housing in my own life over the years. Unless the leadership on Maui can be creative, proactive, and thoughtful, this problem will never be solved. Bill 9 is not the answer. I urge you, don't ignore the many small businesses that depend on visitor stays. If rentals are restricted too heavily, the loss won't only be in condo owner income, it will rip apart the economic ecosystem that small local businesses depend on. This is especially true in South Maui. I encourage the council to seek solutions that balance housing and visitor needs rather than broad bans that cause collateral damage to everyday workers and entrepreneurs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Members, any questions? If not, thank you very much. May we have the next testifier, please?
Chair, the next testifier is Bob Clifford, to be followed by Molly Palmer. Mr. Clifford?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your time and consideration. My family has owned condos in Noelani and West Maui since the 70s. And the point I want to make is our condo is a studio with a $1,000 a month HOA fee and $9,000 a year property taxes. Last year, it was appraised by your property appraiser at just under $900,000. The unit right next to us, exactly the same, because it was part of our family. We sold finally after 6 months being on the market for $525,000, and yet I'm still charged the $9,000 appraisal fee. I don't see how a studio apartment can support any family other than maybe a single individual. I urge you to look more specifically at units like mine that will not fill any needs of the local wonderful population of Maui that can help them find homes. Like earlier testifiers, I would be willing in 2030 to rent my home as long as the renter knows that the fees are so high for such a little space. I appreciate what you're doing, and I wish that there could be some more specific specific items addressed more effectively to take in account situations like our family. Again, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Questions, members? Member Paulton.
Thank you. Just clarifying, you said the monthly fees are $1,000 and the short-term rental property taxes annually are $9,000.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Any more questions? If not, next testifier, please.
Chair, the next testifier is Molly Palmer, to be followed by Jeff Gilbert. Molly Palmer?
Great. Hi. Aloha. My name is Molly Palmer. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I'm a 13-year resident of Maui, originally from Alaska. I'm a homeowner, a long-term rental housing provider, and a healthcare professional in psychiatry, supporting this island's community mental health needs. I'm submitting testimony regarding Bill 9. My primary concern is public safety and infrastructure if Bill 9 is passed now. Issues that are largely not being addressed in current discussion, though one testifier did raise these concerns earlier today. A 5-year timeframe is not sufficient to plan, fund, and build the infrastructure that would be required if these areas transition to higher density, long-term residential use. We must realistically consider the following impacts: increased traffic and vehicle volume and lack of adequate transportation infrastructure. A significant rise in permanent residents will inevitably mean more cars, more congestion year-round. South Maui does not have sufficient road capacity, nor does it have direct or reliable connections to upcountry. As population increases, this becomes a serious public safety concern, particularly in the context of evacuations and natural disasters, which we have already experienced firsthand. Consideration should be given to extending Lapoa Parkway toward upcountry to improve traffic and provide an additional evacuation and transportation route in anticipation of increased residential development. Wastewater capacity and contamination risks. Wastewater infrastructure is already a known issue in Kihei. What are the implications of adding a significant number of permanent residents plus all the new residential developments being built rapidly right now to a system that is already strained. Medical infrastructure shortages. Maui lacks adequate medical resources already. We need additional emergency services, including another emergency room. We need additional and more healthcare providers to meet this demand. Note, medical providers in Hawaii are reimbursed by insurance companies at one of the lowest rates in the country as compared to other states, which means they have little incentive to stay on Maui long-term anyway. Ongoing development without infrastructure planning. Kihei is already experiencing the rapid residential development with units across South Kihei without adequate consideration of these fundamental infrastructure issues. 5 years is not enough time to establish the roadways, wastewater systems, and medical infrastructure required to safely support this level of growth. This also raises critical questions that must be addressed. Who will subsidize the construction of new roads and infrastructure? The developers, the HOA boards of new long-term housing complexes, or the county? If solutions are truly being explored, should the county consider working with private landowners or even the use of eminent domain in the name of public safety to establish a direct road connection between Kihei and upcountry? These are serious economic and housing stability concerns.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Member Paulton has a question.
Have you testified to these concerns during the South Maui Community Plan process?
I did not earlier. I spoke to other people that were testifying. So other landowners that spoke in testimony and other real estate agents and healthcare
Did you have that written down, your testimony?
I have it written down and I can submit it here.
Oh, I was hoping that you would submit it when we take up the South Maui Community Plan, because those are all things that should be addressed in the South Maui Community Plan.
Okay, I will definitely participate.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Thank
you. Any more questions? If not, next testifier, please.
Chair, the next testifier is Jeff Gilbert, to be followed by Pamela Tumpop.
Good morning, and thank you for the recesses, because that gave me an opportunity to shave this time, so I won't be testifying unshaven. As I think I mentioned before, my wife and I own a single unit in Kihei. I think it was Rahm Emanuel who maybe Churchill sometimes is credited with never let a crisis go to waste, and it's pretty clear that the hotel lobby is using the Lahaina tragedy in that vein. And I guess I'm kind of sad that it has to happen this way. The belief that by eliminating short-term rentals will somehow aid the hotel industry in a material way is, I believe, folly. Our guests don't want an all-in-one resort experience. They also don't want to spend the all-in-one resort money. Vacations are an elastic expenditure, and Maui will, if it forces more people to go to all-in-one resorts, price itself out of a certain phase of the vacation market. That's all there is to it. Now, if I were able to economically work the unit that I have as a long-term rental, I would be there. I don't like having to go through guests every week. It's a lot of work for me. A lot of work to find them, a lot of work to keep them. But the financial, I ended up having to charge people over $4,000 a month to support just the HOA fees, the mortgage, the real estate, the taxes that I'm currently paying. And that's just not going to happen. That's not a realistic amount to charge somebody for a long-term rental, residential rental. And so and those economics are not going to change. I applaud Jeannie H. in her comment about that supply is the question. There needs to be an increase in the supply of housing to reduce the pressure on the pricing of housing. Trying to reallocate, move the existing pieces around on the board is not going to solve any problem. The hotel people seem to think it's going to solve their problem in terms of occupancy. I doubt it's going to help them much. In any case, I do urge you to re-examine what you want to do, what problem you're trying to solve with Bill 9, because it certainly, I don't think, is going to do what has been the purported purpose of it. I do thank you for your time. I appreciate the opportunity to testify.
Thank you. Members, questions? If not, thank you very much. Next testifier, please.
Chair, the next testifier is Pamela Tumpop, to be followed by Johan Lal.
Aloha, Shirley and council members. We've testified on this bill really at every stage, consistently sharing our concerns, and sadly still feel the bill is half-baked. While we appreciate the work of the TIG and recognize that advancing their recommendations would help reduce economic impacts and address several of our concerns, sadly, the request to put the TIG's recommendations first and make sure they were implemented before we got into the timeline of Bill 9 was not adopted, and therefore is not guaranteed, which means we're still at strong economic risk. It's a job loss gamble, and harm to local businesses is too high. The bill has greatly divided our community, and we have recently found that many council members did not watch the full planning commission hearings, where people were demonized. Both local and Native Hawaiian owners or businesses that supported the industry were demonized, which kept many people from coming forward to protect their ohana and their business. And that's really tragic. And so here we stand today, and yet there's still key questions and issues that must be addressed. We understand more units need to be looked at and may need to be carved out, including units in the Slerexa. There are still questions about how affordability is determined, given the HOA fees and special assessments. And this is critical to address because the public now believes that this is going to be an affordable/attainable rental solution. So what is affordable and attainable price point? What are we looking at for these units? What are we looking at for 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, or 3 bedroom units? It's a question that we really need to address and feel it should have been addressed all along. We also understand the critical need for housing, and we hear the cries from our community, which is why the Chamber has been doing this for decades and been on the forefront of this issue. We have seen bad decisions in the past, as shared, and we've seen some good ones, like housing that actually gets immediately moved forward, like the Ohana units that you passed. This bill does not put housing in place immediately, and it doesn't meet the needs of many of our residents. 46% from our housing survey said they need 3 or more bedrooms. 73% they said they need 2 or more dedicated parking spaces. These units do not align with what many of them want. And 72% said they want yards and their own private outdoor spaces. Without the TIG recommendations advancing first, we cannot support Bill 9. Seriously, we must build our way out of this crisis. We urge the council to, if they pass this bill, follow through on the commitments they made in these meetings to ensure the TIG's recommendations advance quickly. But we still feel we need a better, fully baked solution. We will closely monitor the outcomes and continue to testify as we always do. Mahalo for the opportunity to again share our concerns.
Thank you. Members, questions? If not, thank you very much. Next testifier.
Chair, the next testifier is Johan Lal, to be followed by Stephanie Smythe.
Aloha, Johan Lal. I'm testifying on behalf of myself. So when I first went to work for the County of Maui, my boss was Bill Medeiros. This is not the Bill Medeiros. This is the Bill Medeiros who is in charge of GIS. And being used to Texas politics, I was kind of surprised by how friendly everyone was in Maui County. And he explained to me that people are friendly and they get along because they have no choice living on islands in Hawaii. And this is kind of the first issue that I've seen that has been this contentious, where it's not just people disagreeing and recognizing that people have different opinions, but there seems to be like a real hatred, at least among some of the folks involved, and especially with the discourse online, on social media and places like that. And so in the spirit of my former boss, Bill Medeiros, I want to encourage the Minatoya folks. Oh, and I should say I'm in support of Bill 9. But so the Minatoya folks have brought up several issues, and so I want to encourage them to stay engaged going forward and actually to testify on these issues right to the council members, to the mayor, infrastructure, housing supply, the prioritization of luxury housing, over affordable. The AOAO fees, which are a huge issue for everyone who owns a condo in Maui County, reliance on tourism. These are all issues that you can actually speak up on and make a difference going forward. So I want to encourage folks to actually be engaged. You can't just be a one-issue person, otherwise people aren't going to take you seriously. But there's a chance to actually work together on this kind of stuff. So that's my input on this, Mahalo.
Thank you. Questions, Member Paulton?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Law. I just wanted to clarify, even though you didn't mention it, one of the other things pointed to as a solution by folks was longer deed restrictions. Did you mean to leave that out, or was it an oversight?
No, I actually did have that on my list. Yeah, and that is one of the things that would actually make a difference, because right now, even if housing is affordable, it's only affordable for a certain period of time, and it should, in my opinion, be in perpetuity as a way to create
you just left
affordable
it off
housing.
inadvertently. You do support that as well, being engaged?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions? If not, next testifier.
Chair, the next testifier is Stephanie Smythe, to be followed by Andrew Church.
Good morning. Thank you for this time. I just wanted to thank those that voted for the bill. I'm from Lahaina, obviously, and I have family there, born and raised in Honokowai, so I have roots there, deep roots. So I just want to thank those that did vote for Bill 9. The ones that didn't, you got to vote your conscience. That's all I'm going to say. Residential zone is exactly that, residential zone. It's not a hotel zone. And regarding a question about if we think that everybody will go to the hotels, right? Was that your question? Something along the lines of that. When Kaanapali was built, Kaanapali Resort, it was a conceptual idea. It was to have hotels, restaurants, shopping, all in one area, okay, where the tourists could go. But the outlining areas was where apartments were built for people that work at the hotel. So it's not an either or. And jobs loss, there'll be lots of jobs at the hotels. We have actually worker shortage in the hotels, plenty of jobs in the hotels. So if it's converted to apartments, you're having people, I guess they said, people will lose their income, lose their jobs. No, they won't. They won't. I can name you hotels now that is begging for people to apply. So there's lots of jobs. We're in the business, actually, of creating jobs, the ILWU. But I just wanted to thank you again for voting for the bill. It is the right thing. Truly, it is the right thing. And pretty much that's all.
Questions, members? If not, thank you very much.
Chair, the next testifier is Andrew Church, to be followed by Ron Ciliato.
Hello? Hello? My name is Andy Church. I strongly oppose Bill 9 in its current form. This is my fourth time testifying at these hearings, so if you remember me, you'll know where I stand. I just want to recap a few quotes made by you council members at these hearings. Quote number 1, Bill 9 is the worst bill I've ever seen. Structurally, Bill 9 has been handled backwards from the start as a bill that was created quickly at the start and has been rationalized and justified after the fact as you went along. I've seen Bill 9 just from Mayor Bisson's speeches. First, it was an affordable housing bill, then it became a water conservation bill, and then it became a zoning correction bill. And my personal opinion is Mayor Bisson is constantly moving the goalposts to suit his own agenda. He hastily created a financially irresponsible bill with an amateur administration that will not solve the housing crisis. The second quote, Maui County will lose $80 million per year in tax revenue alone from this phase out. This is close to $1 billion over 10 years. That number does not even include the massive loss in revenue to local businesses and the huge loss of jobs for our local people. Bisson has no plan to replace that revenue at this point. That is scary. We're talking about people's livelihoods here. Quote number 3, this is from last week, the last hearing. We are going to have to tighten our belt. $1 billion is like taking Fat Albert and tightening enough to fit olive oil. It's simply not possible. The economic impact of Bill 9 will be catastrophic for our economy. Taking $80 million of annual STR revenue and dedicating it to affordable housing is a solution. That was what Councilmember Alice Lee suggested. Unfortunately, her recommendations were thrown in, quote, the rubbish bin. My units are on the TIG list, on the TIG exhibit to exemption list, because they are in a serious flood zone. I just want to show you a couple pictures to make it a reality. This is the parking lot after the last flood. As you can see, the cars are being floated and moved, and they're up to the windshields. Now imagine children playing out there. I said it, and this, my favorite thing is, I keep saying the dumpsters ended up in the ocean. There's this. This is from a screenshot from the video. The cars are being moved out. It's just not a good place for long-term housing. I'm paying about $1,500 a year in special assessment to clean up the flooding, and I pay another $1,200, probably $1,100 a month, and just regular HOA fees. This is a one-bedroom. That's not even going to cover the rent. I think I'm done. Thank you. I strongly oppose Bill 9 in its current form. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Members' questions? If not, thank you very much. Next testifier.
Chair, the next testifier is Ron Ciliato, to be followed by Karen Smart.
Here we go again. Thank you, County Council Chair and County Council. I in support today to have a clean passing of Bill 9. Thank you all who did vote for it, sorry. And all you STR people, I hear you guys spill, but profit over people ain't gonna happen. This disaster was happened unexpected. Nobody was prepared for that, so we understand you guys, gig, but like I said in my past testimony, if I was the governor, president, mayor, none of these STRs would have been here. Thank you so much again. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I think I said a lot because it's been a marathon. Thank you. Appreciate you all.
Thank you. Questions, members? If not, thank you. Next testifier.
Chair, the next testifier is Karen Smart, to be followed by Julian E.E.
Aloha, Chair. Aloha, Council. The truth about Bill 9 is out. It is about tourism and not about housing. In the first hearing of Bill 9, Maui Council members verbally confirmed that Bill 9 is actually about tourism and not about affordable or attainable housing for local residents. So let's stop talking about Bill 9 or how Bill 9 will bring back all the people who were priced out and had to leave. Passing Bill 9 will actually force more to leave. The council that are for Bill 9 have verbally admitted to their passionate testimonies at the first reading of Bill 9 that over-tourism was the real reason why they want to pass Bill 9. One male council member, and on purpose I'm not saying your names unless you want me to, one male council member for Bill 9 even used the F word, saying that we need to pivot away from effing tourism. Another female council member for Bill 9 talked about the evolution of STRs and said that the county ended up exempting some of the STRs with the Minatoya list and then later codified the list into law. She said this verbally in the last council meeting. She also said that over-tourism was the problem, as pre-COVID, she couldn't ever find a parking spot at her local beach after 8 a.m. This same council member said people over profit, like a lot of people are saying. Over-tourism is not people over profit. Tourism currently feeds the people. More tourism is actually more profit for the people, no less. So stop using people over profit as your tagline because it's a false statement. That catchphrase only worked when your narrative was that Bill 9 was going to provide housing for Maui residents. But now that you know it won't, that tagline does not work anymore. Bill 9 only attacks the Million Toya List condos, and council members know this. And they know these condos will sit empty or be sold to possibly BlackRock, as lenders won't lend on a condo that is considered risky or in a lawsuit in a county that took a legal right away that lenders use to qualify the loan, etc. So only cash buyers will get these condos, but the council members pushing for Bill 9 don't care about that because they admitted in the last meeting that Bill 9 will curb tourism and that this is what it's really about. So the lost jobs and the county deficit and more people leaving island does not matter to them. Their answer is to pivot from a tourism job to a different job. Guys, get ready. And as the one male council member Johnson said, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. They have plenty of time, 3 to 5 years, to pivot from a tourism job to another job. You can't expect everyone in Lahaina to be able to pivot jobs in just 3 years. That is a ton of extra pressure to put on these people that have endured so much already. Plus, the economy is sinking now due to just the threat of Bill 9. Many local businesses are still currently closing down right now. The right thing to do is to make other jobs available first and have people trained and into these new jobs before you cut out the tourism jobs that feed the most people here. You are putting the cart before the horse.
Excuse me, you have to conclude.
Quit putting the cart before the horse, and it's not too late, you guys.
I got a clarifying question, Ms. Smart.
Sure.
It didn't say the F-bomb, and just clarifying the record, because it was online, so it does get muddy, but it's a bucking bronco industry. It's rising and falling like a bucking horse. So sorry if it didn't sound like...
I was here, and I thought I heard you say the F word, and you were very passionate, and it's about tourism. You guys have all kind of said that.
I just wanted to clarify that tourism is an up and down kind of industry, not the big F-bomb. So I just want to put that on record. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Any more questions? If not, thank you very much. Next testifier.
Chair, the next testifier is Julin E.E., to be followed by Anonymous.
Aloha, my name is Julin E. Aloha Chair, Aloha Council. It kind of seems like everybody needs to be reminded that this is Hawaii. Like, this is Hawaii, okay? And no, your people does not feed me, does not feed my mouth, okay? There's two different kinds of rich, okay? My kind of rich in Hawaii is having crops watered every day, having our kupuna still here, having our keiki still being able to be here. And there's rich, as in revenue. Revenue, money, cha-ching, which is all I've heard from the opposing team. And that's okay, but that shows you the difference of the people of Hawaii and the people that are not of Hawaii, okay? So while you guys are so worried about making your thousands of dollars to be put into your extra bank account for whatever it may be, spending money, whatever, I'm just trying to get some food on the table for this week, period, okay? And I'm just trying to make sure that my keiki have the Hawaiian quantum to get my house after this, to get my dad's house on the DHHL list. Okay? So there's a big difference between rich, and I really need everybody to understand that. Everyone here, everyone there, everyone on the TVs, on the computers, it's different. And it's pretty sad to continue to come up here and have to explain ourselves of how we should be living here in Hawaii. Like, I understand both sides, but I'm for Bill 9, and it doesn't take rocket science to know that Bill 9 is gonna fix every single problem, but it's a start. And it's a start that we're willing to make, and a sacrifice to answer the brother that came up earlier about saying, are we willing to sacrifice? Yes, hell yeah. We're willing to sacrifice everything to keep Hawaii, Hawaii. Because it's supposed to be Hawaii. There is no Hawaii without
Okay,
Hawaii.
all right, audience, please.
So I just want to make that clear. Mahalo.
Any questions? Okay, you want to maintain decorum in this room. Next testifier.
Chair, the next testifier is anonymous online, to be followed by Edward Cordelia.
Anonymous.
Anonymous, this is your opportunity to testify.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Aloha, council members. I know you've heard a lot on Bill 9, so I'll try to hit new points, as I know you've heard the economic, fiscal, and legal impacts many times. While emotional testimony can be compelling, I urge you to consider the broader impacts, especially considering Blackstone's recent $2.3 billion cash acquisition of Alexander and Baldwin, one of Hawaii's largest private landowners and real estate companies. Blackstone already owns iconic Maui assets such as the Grand Wailea, Ritz-Carlton Kapalua, and a large stake in Maui Land and Pineapple Co., and actively trades major Hawaii properties. If Bill 9 forces thousands of STR owners to exit, it will likely accelerate institutional consolidation, shifting homes from local families to global investors on a global balance sheet. That outcome reduces local control over pricing and use, the opposite of what residents want. I also wanted on the record that although many believe Lahaina Strong, one of the largest support groups for Bill 9, is a grassroots relief organization, is actually a project of Our Hawaii Action, a political advocacy group. Though I know it's probably filled with kind, passionate people, their public filings and ethics complaints show that most of its funds support lobbying and political campaigns, not direct relief. In fact, Lahaina Strong is not a registered nonprofit. It operates under a for-profit LLC and has never provided full transparency on donations. This matters because their heavy lobbying for Bill 9 is driven by political interests, not guaranteed housing solutions. I appreciate a previous testifier's Pamela Toonkop's testimony, noting that some who oppose this bill have felt pressured not to speak. I share that concern. As an 8th generation Hawaii resident, the climate around this issue has made people, including myself, feel uncomfortable about testifying publicly, which is why I've chosen to remain anonymous. Open dialogue should never come at the cost of intimidation or fear. I appreciate those STR owners who have chosen to testify. The passage of this bill would have clear and significant impacts on their properties and their lives. In contrast, many who are testifying in support of Bill 9 face uncertain or indirect impacts. This difference matters when weighing whose voices reflect immediate, tangible consequences versus hypothetical outcomes. There's a better path forward, one that supports housing and economic growth. Maui needs responsible development, not policies that shrink the economy and invite corporate takeover. Invest in new housing projects, streamline permitting for workforce housing, and foster public-private partnerships that create homes locals can afford. These solutions grow supply without destroying jobs or tax revenue, and they keep ownership in local hands, not in the hands of global companies. Please vote no or defer Bill 9 and advance a framework that protects Maui's families, economy, and future. Mahalo for your time.
Thank you. Questions, members? If not, next testifier.
Chair, the next testifier is Edward Cordelia, to be followed by C. Rose Riley.
Good afternoon. My name is Edward Cordelia. I am a resident of Maui for about 35 years now, and I am a realtor. And I just want to begin by saying thank you. I recognize how divided the community has been on this issue. But leadership is not about avoiding conflict. It is about regaining control of our land, our zoning, and our future when the system has drifted away from its original purpose. When the zoning loophole that had allowed short-term vacation rentals in apartment districts was created, short-term rentals were not an industry. There were no platforms, no institutional investors, and no global capital chasing returns on Maui housing. Today, that reality has changed completely. This is no longer incidental use. It is a highly organized, well-funded, and politically active industry, capable of shaping policy and public narrative. In many ways, it now operates like a pack. while local residents are left competing for their own neighborhoods. The consequences of that imbalance are not limited to housing pressure. They include narrative control, the suggestion that locals don't know how to live on Maui, or that we cannot manage our island without outside capital stepping in to optimize it for us. That story is wrong and it's dangerous. I also want to be very clear about what Bill 9 does and what it does not do. The bill was not designed to instantly create housing. Its purpose is more fundamental, to correct the zoning loophole and restore alignment between apartment zoning and residential use. That correction is necessary, but it is not the end of work. Once zoning integrity is restored, the county must decide what comes next. In that spirit, I encourage the council to review Bill 8.2, the proposed Bill 823, which I submitted several weeks ago to each of you, or to advance a parallel plan that addresses the transition, including revenue stability, housing pathways, and long-term community resilience. Correcting the loophole is step one. Governing responsibly means planning for step two. What matters most is not whose bill it is, but that there is a plan. Maui deserves more than a vacuum after a hard but necessary correction. For taking on powerful interests, restoring local control, and doing the difficult work of governing, thank you.
Members, questions? If not, thank you very much. Next testifier.
Chair, the next testifier is C. Rose Riley, to be followed by Brian Whitman.
Aloha. My testimony is 4 minutes and 27 seconds, so I had to adjust, so hopefully it makes sense. You know who really can't come forward and be here at these meetings are the severely traumatized from Lahaina burning down. And Bill 9 being passed is the minimum. So first I quote Richard Register in Eco-Cities. Planners know that there are plenty of statistics on the other side of critical issues, and they are aware that today's decisions build tomorrow's dysfunctional or healthy environments. But they refuse to gather or think about information that would slow down or reverse freeway development. And their jobs depend on maintaining their ignorance, which is basically reflecting on the status quo assessment that we cannot eliminate these egregious STRs. So as a board as I am to think that government was unable to hear the Kanaka leaders from Lahaina that came forward to stop the housing development across from Ka'anapali, the tipping point development that left Lahaina homes running out of water in total for 5 years before the town burned down, I think of how apparent it's been to my mind that the county must drastically change its income streams from luxury and retail developments to real industries. These fast dollars that seem so easy and necessary have proven to be just as dangerous as predicted. The ways of old plantation settler colonial business as usual are over. I think it's true delegation of sacred resources like water have to have complete oversight in all areas of government for accurate determination of validity of projects. I insist that organizations like the Water Authority and Ahumoku, for example, are given these authorities. John Hagelin in A Manual for a Perfect Government states, capturing the totality of natural law at its unified source and thus gaining intimate familiarity with natural law at its most unified and universal level could, and according to current research does, bring behavior that is in accord with the totality of natural law to produce ideal citizens fully in tune with natural law, capable of utilizing natural law effectively to achieve their desires while upholding the progress of society as a whole and the life, liberty, and happiness of its members. In Sacred Economics, Charles Eisenstein says, just as life does not end with adolescence, neither does civilization's evolution stop with the end of growth. We are in the midst of a transition parallel to an adolescent's transition into adulthood. Physical growth ceases and vital resources turn inward to foster growth in other realms. To change more than 2/3 of these apartments into hotel or STR use uses 3 times as much water than the plan already allows, which is operating at a deficit. It isn't as if unsustainable management isn't a thing. My father's family are refugees from the potato famine, forced farming of monocrop potatoes that starved 1 million people to death. The time for real drastic change is now. Scott Peck says that the level of maturity is based on our capacity to meet and deal with crisis in the earliest possible interceptions. Mahalo.
Thank you. Members, questions? If not, thank you.
Chair, the next testifier is Brian Whitman, to be followed by Rochelle Kapu.
Aloha, and thank you, everyone. I'm going to read this kind of fast. Bill 9 would not quickly or completely address our housing crisis. We need additional innovative solutions. Previously, I suggested an idea for a companion bill that we call Bill 9A. Today, I am suggesting a companion Bill 9B. Attached is a data sheet showing total housing units in Maui County from 1950 to 2024. Usually it goes up. Of course, it went down by 2,000 units in 2023 for the fires. But in 1981, it went up by over 2,000 units. That was a lot of building in 1981. Can we do that again in 2026? Our 71,000 housing units now listed in 2024 are not equal. They are large and small, old and new, expensive and humble. Maui County property reports show a grade between 1 and 5 that indicates age, quality, and style of construction. 5s can be worth millions. 1s are usually less than 100K. Maui County has no way to search the system to determine how many units are of each grade, but we can be sure that older, less valuable buildings are being replaced with expensive new buildings. Many of the plantation-style homes that were available for reasonable rent 20 years ago are gone now, with high-value, unaffordable mansions in their place. Our development policies aim more at maximizing the taxable value rather than to really provide affordable housing. How can we stimulate less costly building policies with less red tape? I'm not suggesting we build substandard housing, but clearly it is our expensive development trends that are pushing locals out of the housing market. Unfortunately, we tend to think of affordable housing as being something that has to be subsidized rather than just building less costly housing in the first place. I looked up Maui's recent building code ordinance number 5507, dated April 28, 2023, which contains the newest international building codes, updated processing policies, etc. Mayor Bison also included the wonderful Article 4 that addresses indigenous Hawaiian architecture. It is now legal to build hale halavai, hale ku'ai, hale noa, hale va'a. Of course, not everyone wants to live in a 14 by 24 grass shack, but now legally you can. My point is that ordinance number 5507 proves that Maui County has the flexibility to allow legacy housing styles, even when they clearly don't meet international codes adopted elsewhere in the same document, and also the power to decree new planning policies. So here's my proposal for Bill 9B. 1, hold an architect's contest for low-cost legacy cottage designs such as single wall plantation, Kahului Dream City hollow tile, etc., all with adequate safety features, and select 5 winners. Publish the winners as downloadable, pre-approved, pre-permitted project designs. Property owners with enough space can download the design and start work tomorrow.
Time.
There's a little more.
Thank you.
I'll submit it.
Members, any questions? If not, thank you very much.
Chair, the next testifier is Rochelle Kapu online, to be followed by Autumn Ness. Ms. Kapu? Okay, we'll come back to you. Moving on to Autumn Ness.
Aloha, everybody. I am coming to you from the tailgate of my truck. Apologies. I just wanted to pop on here and say that it would be really my greatest honor to be in that room with you folks and watch as you hopefully vote to approve Bill 9. The only thing that could have kept me and a bunch of other of us out of that room today to be with you is the opening of the harbor. And so I'm grateful for this technology that allows me to just zoom in here and give my full and unequivocal support for Bill 9 on behalf of myself and Lahaina Community Land Trust, and just to tell you guys that we can see it. We can see a generationally stable Lahaina. We can see a generationally stable Maui if we just continue to be bold in the creation of solutions, including this bill. Yes, it is not the whole puzzle, but it is a piece of the puzzle. And so thank you so much for getting us this far. And I and so many people in this community are committed to working on all the other solutions that have to happen until our people really know what stability in their own home feels like. Thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to the news of the bill's passage today. Please, mahalo.
Questions, members? If not, thank you. Next testifier.
Chair, we're circling back to Rochelle Kapu. I can see you're online. You just need to unmute on your side. Ms. Kapu?
Next.
We'll come back to you. The next testifier chair is Corey McKim, to be followed by Charles Andrion.
Good morning, Chair, committee members, and fellow Maui residents. I thank the Commission for your dedication to help our Maui community. All of us here are concerned Maui residents regarding affordable housing. Many of our council members have possibly made up their mind. It is difficult to change our mind once it is determined. It is like trying to change a family member's mind is very difficult. I truly believe everyone here wants solid solutions and our residents deserve dignified housing. The good news is there are several new builds coming online for rent and purchase. Look at Hale o Pi'ikea in South Maui, for example. Passing Bill 9 today will put the cart before the horse. Small to medium-sized businesses are the backbone, the heartbeat of the community. Voting for Bill 9 today will be the beginning of the end for small businesses. Hawaii's economy continues to head towards a recession in 2026, driven primarily by the overall U.S. economy due to ongoing tariffs, cuts in federal spending, and deportations. This is according to the fourth quarter economic forecast released by University of Hawaii's Economic Research Organization. If small businesses survive, the community will thrive. Costs continue to increase at a staggering pace. We know that. What will be the insurance and maintenance fees come 2030? Will housing be more affordable in 2030? If the council wants to develop new H3, H4 zoning, hotel zoning, pass that first. Don't put the cart before the horse. It's like the quarterback throwing the ball without knowing the play, or a golfer hitting the ball without knowing the yardage. There's a lot of talk of diversification, but no solutions. UHERO concluded through their research not that long ago, excuse me, that aquaculture would be one of the only solutions to diversifying the economy. That doesn't create a lot of jobs for residents and may not even be a good idea. Continue to problem solve new ways to diversify, but do not close small businesses in the short term. If small businesses survive, the community can thrive. Do not put the cart before the horse. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Members, questions? If not, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Next testifier.
The next testifier is Charles Andrion, and then we'll circle back to Rochelle Kapu. Charles Andrion?
Good morning. Good morning. Can you folks hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So, hi, my name is Charles Andrion, and I serve as a full-time business agent for ILW Local 142 Maui Division. I come from the hospitality industry, having worked at the Grand Waileo for 8 years and being born and raised in Maui. I support Bill 9 because it will provide meaningful benefits for our local families. Thank you.
Questions, members? If not, next testifier.
Chair, we're circling back to Rochelle Kapu. Ms. Kapu?
Aloha.
Aloha.
Okay. Hi. Aloha. I told myself I wasn't going to testify, but I'm going to testify. I wish a lot of the testifiers that have testified prior didn't testify again. It held this bill up from being voted on for so long. This needs to happen. I am for this bill. This bill, I mean, look at the devastation Lahaina is going through. And we're doing all of this kind of things where people from Lahaina can't even testify because they're too busy doing their houses, going through permits, going through all of this mess that they didn't ask for. Bill 9 will help. I don't see any businesses having to shut down. It's not, people don't want to work because they're traumatized. That's why businesses are going down. And this is the first time I've heard of Blackstone. I mean, why is everybody bringing up Blackstone now that he bought A and B? It wasn't brought up from the beginning. Why are you guys dreading on that now? We are in a recession, yes. We have been in a recession for 2 years. Are we gonna keep on having these conversations that are not helping? We need to move forward like Lahaina is. Lahaina is trying to move forward. We are trying to get things back in order. Yakua has blessed us to be here. Our kupuna have lived in camps and lived there happily. They have survived all of this. I don't understand why people are saying we cannot survive without changing laws. If you are not Kanaka Maoli, you do not know how to survive in this world. You need to be true and blue to it. I support ILWU. I support all of our nationalities that have been here and survived here on our own, through growing our own, through in recessions, through helping each other. And this is what it is, helping each other. So I mahalo you folks. I really want to see this pass today. I really want to see us move forward as a community, as an island, safely, happily, and in Keokua's guidance. I mahalo you.
Thank you. Questions, members? If not, next testifier.
Chair, next testifier is Elizabeth Ray, to be followed by Jackie Keefe. Elizabeth Ray is online.
Aloha.
We can hear
Aloha,
you.
sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Aloha, my name is Elizabeth Ray. I really, thank you, Council. Thank you, everyone. I know I've been problematic. I know I'm probably not your favorite. I probably give you PTSD. But right now, I'm stuck here in Hana, Kauai. I'm one of the Lahaina residents that cannot make it out there. I have no transportation. I have 2 children. My husband's at work. I just can't get there. I can't afford it. Even if I had a car, there's no gas. So I'm just feeling for the people that want to be there right now and cannot be there right now to testify. Just the way I see it is, these people that I work with at Old Lahaina Luau, the people my husband works with at Hanua Kai that have been there for years, 20 plus, 30, 40 years, you know, they don't get to live here anymore. They don't get to live here because, as we know, the SDRs have monopolized most of Hana Kauai. The short-term rentals, owners of short-term rentals, I just wish you had had your own feelings to convert yourself. I'm wondering why I have not heard of one STR converting themselves to a local family to just do it themselves without having to be forced, without having there to be a law about this. I mean, look at the word Hawaii. Ha is breath, vai is water. These are things we need in Hawaii to survive, and the STRs are diverting it, you know? So what I'm saying is, if we can all find a little compassion for the homeless family that's in the park with the 4-year-old in Hana Kauai, for the homeless family that has a 5-year-old down on Kanapali Whalers. If someone can find compassion for these types of people, they are fire survivors. They were waiting in the water for 15, you know, I'm not even going to go into that. But I know their story. That's one of the 100 horror stories. And they don't get to survive because they didn't get help through FEMA, because they didn't own their place, or the condo they were in, the landlord got it. So, you know, there's people here, and we just want somewhere to live and work. Most people are working here, Lahaina fire survivors. They're living up past Minute Stop, okay, and in those temporary homes, and they have to leave before Christmas. And there's so many people, my husband's coworkers, that are frightened, PTSD, because they are going homeless for Christmas with their family. I don't think the STR owners understand what kind of investment. Please invest in people. Invest in a family. Don't invest in money. You know, but we are people. It hurts me every day to see this. I'm a settler. I was so blessed to come here and teach Lahaina's children. And like I've said before, 100% of their homes are burned. Most of them have PTSD. I have PTSD. I'm not perfect. I suffer with things from being homeless after COVID and being homeless after the fires. I'm trying every day to be a good person. And you might see me and you might say that lady is nuts. And sometimes I feel nuts. So please just have compassion for us. We're living in a lot of pain. Aloha.
Thank you. Members' questions? If not, thank you very much. Next testifier.
Chair, the next testifier is Jackie Keefe, to be followed by Misty Cotter.
Aloha, council members. Thank you for going through this with us again. I just want to start by saying people like to blame this bill for the decrease in tourism that we're experiencing, rather than acknowledging that we are living in a time where the current U.S. administration is actively tanking the global economy. While terrifying, this presents a great opportunity for Maui to focus on diversifying our economy. Between COVID and the August 2023 wildfires, we've seen that we simply cannot depend on tourism to keep our people fed and housed. We hear a lot of arguments against Bill 9, but we rarely get the rebuttal. I will start with Build Our Way Out. Matt Jakowski's presentation earlier this year showed why building our way out of this crisis is impossible, and for anyone who hasn't seen that, I highly recommend going back to watching it in the June 9th HLU meeting. Starts around 35 minutes into the recording. It will also help you understand why this bill has been referred to as a way of addressing housing, water, and zoning. Passing Bill 9, which, to remind everyone, is a zoning bill that clarifies that apartment zones are not for transient vacation rentals, will increase housing supply. The owners of these condos, which used to be homes for working people, are now upset that they are struggling to sell them for 10 to 20 times what they were originally sold to our local families for, in apartment zones, as apartments. This bill is one piece of the solution to many of the problems that we are experiencing. This is not the whole solution. We know that. It is one piece. How are we going to recoup the lost revenue? Easy. Increase property taxes on vacant and second homes. We're going to lose thousands of jobs. We have countless open jobs in sectors that we depend on for our local economy to function. So I just ask that you think about the actual rebuttal to some of these arguments that we know are ridiculous, we know are prioritizing profit, and just please consider my job. I'm an advocate for fire survivors, okay? We just heard testimony about people not having housing every single day. I work mostly with kupuna, but individuals with disabilities. Every single day, where am I supposed to live? Where am I supposed to go? FEMA housing is gonna end, right? We know that. This is a separate thing from that, but I really just urge you to consider that this is so much bigger than people losing some profit from having bought up our housing supply to use it as a business. Businesses are subject to regulations, and that's what this is. So mahalo to the council members who have supported us, and I urge you to pass Bill 9. Mahalo.
Members' questions? If not, thank you very much.
Chair, the next testifier is Misty Cotter, to be followed by Olivia Cotter.
And then how many more?
That's Olivia Cotter is currently our last testifier signed up.
Hi, my name is Misty Cotter. I'm a Lahaina resident, multi-generational. I wasn't planning to speak or testify today. I have testified in the past, but just feel like there is one last chance to have something to say. We need housing. It is so important. I have all my friends, all my family, we are all on FEMA. We are all worried what happens come February. And there's a lot of us all going to be looking for housing all at the same time, and it's just not out there. We need this housing. You know, we've been more than patient while being cast aside. We need to stop putting tourists and non-residents over our local community. Our community is what carries this tourist industry. We are carrying it on our backs. We need to stop putting profits over people. If you want Aloha to be here, we have to have Kanaka here. We have to bring Kanaka home. Maui will not be Maui without its beautiful community. If you are in this space and you care about the community, then listen to what we're saying and what we're asking for and what we're willing to sacrifice for a better way of life. If you can't do that, then do you actually love Maui and its people, or do you just love the scenery and the money you can make from it? Buying up multiple houses should never be a retirement plan. This is about community. You are either a part of the community or you are extracting from it. Mahalo.
Thank you, members. Questions? If not, thank you. Next.
Chair, the next testifier is Olivia Cotter, to be followed by Saini Dennis.
Aloha. I also was not going to talk today. But after hearing some things, I do want to say just one last final thing. Can we please remember what land we're on? I'm a settler here, and I came here just hoping to let this place change me. And my intention and my hope is that I've walked that path and continue to want to walk that path. And just hearing people who have moved here and want to take the reins and not hear from the locals who are born and raised of this Aina is really upsetting and really disappointing, and we can do better. I went through the Lahaina fire with my wife. She just spoke. And we are currently facing that reality of where we're going to go next and if we're going to stay. And so it feels really poignant right now to point out that remember where you come from and remember what land you're on and listen to the people who steward it. And also, how are you showing up for that community? Are you just here to take and buy, or are you here showing up, doing the work? Because I guarantee these people, especially Lahaina Strong, is working 2 or 3 jobs and showing up for council meetings and right now protesting something very important for the community. So how are you actually showing up for it? And are you just doing those things so you can tell everyone about it later? Mahalo.
Members, questions? Thank you. Next.
Chair, the next testifier is Saini Dennis, to be followed by Nicole Galindo.
Aloha and good morning. My name is Saini Dennis. I was a resident of Lahaina for a long time, pre-fire. I'm just here really to stand in support of Bill 9 and really just say that I hope that for those of you that are going to be making these decisions that, you know, really, when you look in the mirror, who are you making these decisions for? Outsiders or for the people that live here? The people that sustain this island that through their own families, through their bonds, through their memories, really add to this place. So all we ask is consider the people that love this place, the people that want to be here, and not just outsiders that look to make $1. We can make $1 anywhere, but this is home. Thank you.
Questions, members? If not, next testifier, please.
Chair, the next testifier is Nicole Galindo, to be followed by Maurice Priest.
And then how many?
Mr. Priest is currently the last person signed up to testify.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nicole Galindo. I'm a Lahaina Luna graduate. I was a porter. I'm a licensed psychotherapist, and I'm actually not here to talk about any of that. I actually live in one of the condos that is on the Minatoya list, and you could probably guess why I have mixed feelings about testifying. It does put me possibly at risk Personally, I come here not for myself because, to be honest, I've secured my housing because the owners of my unit, of their own accord, 6 years ago, I've been in the place 6 years, and they've been amazing to me. And I'm not coming here because I need something, but I know in the future, if I don't look out for all of us, it will become an issue for all of us. We have to do what is right. We have to understand that it is possible to have these units, to have these condos as affordable, possibly some of them attainable, not affordable, but there are some that are affordable. And the arguments that are being made, they're just not true. They're coming from a privileged place. You know, these people are very privileged that are making this argument. What about the parking? What about the closet space? People need homes. Yeah, it's true. I don't have a closet, right? And I like clothes, but I have to, I made my own version of that. That's a priority. You don't deny people housing because they might not have a parking space. Yeah, if somebody comes over to my house, they have to park a block away and walk, and they don't die from that. So these arguments that are being made are coming from people who are desperate to keep their profits, who are very angry at the possibility that this business for them that they've done very, very well for a very long time could possibly have to change. But none of them are talking about their survival. That's the difference in the argument. So I just want to stand with the people of Maui, with the people of Lahaina, because that's who we are. That's what we're supposed to do. And also because, so nervous, you guys. I felt like it needed to be said. I would like to have neighbors. I would like to see more of my people living where I live. Thank you.
Members, questions? If not, thank you.
Chair, the next testifier is Maurice.
I just had one clarification.
Why did you hand?
That's okay.
Okay.
Just wanted to clarify, so, you're able to raise a family in the condo that you live in?
Sorry?
You're able to raise your family in the condo that you live in?
Yes, thankfully. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath place. I have a small family, and yes, we are comfortable, and we sacrifice certain things, but they're not sacrifices.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. May we have the next testifier, please?
Chair, the next testifier is Maurice Priest, to be followed by Travis Leggett. You need to unmute Mr. Priest.
Thank you. My name is Maurice Priest. I appreciate the opportunity to testify. I work in affordable housing. I've been admitted to the practice law in Hawaii since 1989 and California since 1977. We have established affordable housing in California and Washington with over 1,200 units and helping approximately 3,000 people gain affordable housing. We're very interested in helping in Maui. We started studying and meeting with people on the island before number 9 was even considered by the Maui Council. And we believe that the best thing to add, which is not in Title IX now or even considered to our knowledge, is that Maui County used the $1.8 billion received from the federal government to build affordable housing desperately needed in Maui, on surplus land owned by Maui County. Maui County has the ability to use the funding that it received from the federal government to build the affordable housing needed on the island. And I'm very fearful, as an attorney who has expertise in real property law, I'm very concerned that part of number 9 will be disallowed in the courts because it's used such a broad stroke. For example, properties on the ocean side of Maui that are confronted with sea issues, seawall issues, and have exorbitant HOA costs in condominiums because of its location on the sea, is simply going to remain unaffordable for the low-income persons in Maui that you're trying to help, that the county is trying to help. There's no way that condominiums that are above $1 million and that have HOA fees $4,000 to $5,000 per month is going to become accessible to the low-income people that you're trying to help. Many of the same condominiums are on leasehold property. Every 10 years, the lease amount is renegotiated. The maintenance of that property on the ocean is going to continue to rise. And that's a fault that I believe will be struck down in the courts, not because the county doesn't have the right to do what it believes is helpful to its low-income people and for affordable housing, but because of the broad stroke that the county has chosen to use by including condominiums with oceanfront property with extreme values, with high HOA dues. I'm going to be on Maui from the 28th of January through February 5th, and I would love to meet with each and every one of you or whoever wants to meet with me, and my email address is shown on the website. I want to help Maui County succeed.
Thank you.
And I hope that you'll consider it. Thank you very much.
Questions, members? If not, thank you very much. May we have the next testifier?
Chair, the next testifier is Travis Leggett, to be followed by Christina. Both are online.
Good morning, council members and everyone in the chambers. Thank you for all the energy that's been invested in this. I am a former NASA employee with a master's in aerospace engineering, and someone mentioned rocket science earlier. So I thought I'd bring forward some concepts that I think are relevant here. One of the greatest risks to long-term duration space flight is conflict and polarization among the crew, because when that happens, attention is diverted away from important life support systems that could save everyone. And I think that's really relevant here because in addition to Bill 9, we have this huge issue of division, polarization, and conflict, and it puts everyone at risk. So I would offer the following solution, which is that those council members that may consider voting nay, I would encourage you to consider the idea of voting yay with reservations. You can document your reservations as much as you like for the record and for those who would oppose Bill 9, but that there is enormous value to be had, potential value for a unanimous vote with the nays becoming yays with reservations. And here's another point about that. It could save the taxpayers dollars because if this does get challenged in court, a unanimous vote will undermine the challenges by saying there was little contention. Even the nays voted yay with reservations, and that translates to dollars spent by the taxpayers, which could be invested in housing. So I encourage the council members who may vote nay, please consider acknowledging that this bill probably has the votes to pass, and that voting yay with reservations, it unites the community. There will not be a dry in the house, and it can actually save money in possible future legal challenges. That is all. Thank you.
Members, any questions? If not, thank you. May we have the next testifier, please?
Chair, the next testifier is Christina, who is online, and currently she's the last person signed up to testify.
Hello, good morning. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Thank you for being here and for taking my call. I just wanted to voice my stance, and that is for you guys to please pass this and support the people that are living on the island. I lived at Papakea, which I believe is a hotel and apartment zone. I lived there for 5 years at affordable rent cost under $2,000. I have a 5-year-old and a partner, and we all lived there very comfortably and happy until we were bullied out of a lease. And Thankfully, we did get another affordable housing option, but we were very close to not being able to survive in the way that we are currently surviving. And I just wanted to show my support, and I hope that you guys pass Bill 9. Thank you.
Members, questions? If not, next testifier.
Chair, I see Mr. Kiokona making his way to the podium.
Aloha Chair, aloha Council. Mahalo for the opportunity again to speak. At first I wanted to address some stuff. There was an anonymous individual that was making some statements about us, but nah, I'm over it. I want to get past this. It's not worth me stressing myself out anymore. There's nothing else that can be said that hasn't already been said about us that's going to hurt us. So, and just like everything has been said about us, everything has already been said about Bill 9, so I don't want to tell you folks anything you don't already know. But I did hear a previous testifier say that their STR was up for sale and none of the community is lining up to buy it. And they're probably right about that. But the argument is not appropriate in this situation because as a community member, I would not want to live in a constant rotating door of transient interest coming in and out of the unit. If and when Bill 9 passes and we start to see these things being phased out, then come talk to me and we'll see if that has changed. Other than that, I don't want to say any more about Bill 9, but I do want to give some mahalos and acknowledgements to the community. Thank all of you who have come and stood side by side with us from the beginning. We're proud of you all for how hard you folks have fought, for the aloha that you have given. It's been overwhelming. It's fierceness, diligence, your persistence throughout the entire process has been nothing short of astounding. People from all over the world have been messaging me of how proud and amazed they are by you all. We're only at the front end of this movement, and at the very least, our community will be more involved because of this momentum that has been pushed behind this bill. To the opposition, we may not see eye to eye on this issue, and the disputes and how far many of these things have went, we may never see eye to eye, and that's okay. Maybe the stars will align one day, and we'll be on the same side of something, but until then, we will stay persistent in what we believe to be best for our community. Though you may not see eye to eye or agree with this bill, you may not like, and you may not like us. As a matter of fact, I know many of you don't like us. If anything, some of you guys hate us, but just know it will help in more ways than you know whether you want to agree with it or not. To the council, I know it's not easy at all to be where you're at. Working on an issue that's so controversial, being praised by some, torn down by many, and constantly under scrutiny. But at the end of the day, you've all been doing what you believe is best, and we appreciate you for that, even when we may not see eye to eye. I also want to acknowledge that you've all been part of something very rare.
Time.
The community has showed up in support of something for once. I don't think I've ever sat in this council chambers where a community member was in favor of a bill. So just know that you guys were all part in that, something very rare.
Thank you.
That being said, yes, just want to mahalo you folks, and I hope the decision that's made today is one that you guys will be able to live with. Mahalo.
Thank you. Questions, members? If not, thank you very much. Next testifier.
Chair, the next testifier is James Forrest.
Hello, can you hear me?
Could you speak a little louder?
Okay, I'm gonna have to come over here. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to support and thank the unions that have supported this bill. The union support is essential to this bill and the future of Maui County. This is what union support is supposed to be. Union support is not supposed to be for developing luxury developments. Union support is supposed to be for supporting union workers. Putting union workers first is what you're doing today. And I just want to applaud that effort by you. I want to applaud that effort by the unions who have supported this bill. And I hope that that support continues in the near future, because there are many bills that need to be passed that are anti-luxury development and pro-local workers. That's all I have to say. Thank you all.
Questions, members? If not, next testifier.
Chair, the next testifier is J.C. Law.
Aloha, Avina La, Aloha, Kako, Aloha Akaku. I see what time it is, Alice. That's why I signed in. The Hawaiian word of the day is Kolopalu, which means the name of a law in the time of Ku Ali'i, safeguarding the rights of commoners. Thank you all you guys for putting all this time in on this thing. Those of you who might be on the losing end of this vote, there's maybe Mr. Rotz can help you out on this one. You can actually withdraw your votes and then vote the other way to go with the winning side. And that way it'll be, in the newspapers, it'll be unanimous. And I also want to welcome our distinguished guests from the governor's office over there.
Any questions, members? If not, next testifier.
Chair, Mr. Law was the last person signed up to testify, so this is last call. I see Mr. West making his way to the podium.
Stephen West, ILW. After the fires, this union came to you and said, members of the community need hope. This is just the first phase of that. And many municipalities across the country and the world have made moves just like what you're going to be doing today. I'm confident it will pass. But it would be great if some of our endorsed candidates voted yes, and this was unanimous. We ask you, the union asks you, once again, to support this bill. It's important. Over 1,900 children graduate every year. And we've come before this body, many of the different faces, and brought this up, that we have to address transit vacation rentals. Not just in one area, all across this county. Gladys Bisa took the first step. God rest her soul. This is just the first phase. We need to take many more steps to put our children as the first priority. When more Hawaiians live outside the state than inside the state, there's a problem. Let's fix it. Thank you for the time.
Members, questions? If not, thank you. Next testifier.
Chair, there's no one else currently signed up to testify, so this is last call. If there is anyone who would like to testify and are online, please raise your hand. If you're in chambers, please make your way to the podium. This is, again, last call, and the countdown is 3, 2, 1. Chair, there's no one indicating a desire to testify.
All right, I will now close public testimony and adjourn the public hearing and continue with the special meeting. Any objections?
No objections.
So ordered. Ms. Clerk, we can call up the item now.
Chair, would you like to ask if there are any objections to accepting written testimony?
No objections to what? What did you say?
Accepting written testimony.
Accepting written testimony. I think that was taken for granted, but, anybody object to taking a written testimony? Well, thank you very much. Please proceed.
Chair, before you is Bill 9, CD1, FD1, 2025, a bill for an ordinance amending chapters 19.12, 19.32, and 19.37 Maui County Code relating to transient vacation rentals in apartment districts, including transient vacation rentals allowed to continue under Ordinance 1797, 1989.
Member Uuhajens.
Thank you, Chair. I move to pass Bill 9, CD1, FD1, 2025 on second and final reading.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Uhajan, seconded by Member Paulton, to pass Bill 9, CD1, FD1, 2025 on second and final reading. Discussion.
Thank you, Chair. This bill will disallow transit vacation rental uses in the apartment districts as of January 1, 2029 in the West Maui Community Plan area and January 1, 2031 in the county's other areas. My notes say insert any other remarks here, but like everyone else, I feel like this topic has been exhausted. So at this time, I will respectfully ask the member's support for my motion. Thank you, Chair.
More discussion, Member Paulton?
Thank you, Chair. I just want to keep it short and sweet and meet your goals. I'm in full support of this measure. There is a lot of uncertainty still in West Maui and Maui County. And I think it's important to listen to the people that live here, that have lived here for generations. The community wants this passed, and I'm in full support of people over profits. Thank you.
Any more discussion? Member Cook.
Thank you, Chair. I'll be voting no. I would love to support this bill if I believed that it was going to meet the goals and objectives that many of people who have testified.
Can you speak into the mic?
I would gladly support the bill if I believed it was going to meet the goals and objectives that many of the people who have testified that they are believing / hoping that this measure will enable for housing, a more vibrant thanks, I needed that. A more vibrant local community. I'm in support of a visitor industry, not a tourist industry. Come visit, come back next year, no, come buy a house. I represent South Maui, and this bill is more of a West Maui bill. I have not gotten from my community a lot of support for this bill. I represent a unique community because a lot of the people who live in my community are part-time residents, and they don't vote. I represent part-time residents as well as full-time residents. I want to point out to people that when you talk about jobs, in my community, a lot of the companies, the small businesses aren't companies, they're small businesses. They're entrepreneurs with an ice cream shop, a shave ice shop, a landscaping company, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The vibrant, small-scale, grassroots businesses, it's not corporate, and they are being negatively impacted by this. I believe in people over profits. I also believe that we all have to pay our rent and hopefully be able to make a living. So it's painful. ILW's always supported me. I love them. I'll continue to support. So I'm just saying this is not an easy choice, but I firmly believe that this bill is going to not meet its objectives, and I am afraid of the consequences and the collateral damage. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Johnson?
Thank you, Chair. I rise in full support of this historic bill. I will say Bill 9 is people over profits. It's for the people and not about profits. It's for the community over your checkbook. It's for the workers over your LLC. But we're smart and we can pivot. We can move to a new age, and I think we are resilient, we are strong, and we are smart, and I think this community can rise to this occasion. So I will rise in full support of this motion. Thank you, Chair.
Anyone else? Vice Chair Sugimura?
Thank you. I appreciate everybody who have really given their heart and love to our community, who have come meeting after meeting to testify. We also have a member of our council who held the HLU meetings, which were 3 meetings long, 300 testifiers. That was Member Kama, who's not here today. I just want to say that I am continuing to vote no on Bill 9, and I will explain that I think it represents a significant economic risk particularly at a time when Maui's economy remains fragile. While the TIG recommendations are aimed to minimize those risks, those changes are not in this bill, and I think that's very unfortunate. There's a lot of work that was done, good recommendations, but for whatever reasons, Corp Council would not allow amendments. A bill with no changes was strongly recommended. UHERO projects that phasing out short-term rentals could result in significant job loss and redistribution in visitor spending, and these impacts would have direct consequences for the county's tax base and the ability to fund essential services. The administration's own financial analysis raises additional concerns where the Department of Finance shared that Big Bill 9 represents a loss of roughly $65 million in real property taxes per year, along with an estimated $15 million in general excise tax and transit accommodation tax revenues. That's significance. And what they said was that the proposed solution is to offset those losses by raising taxes. On who? You, the taxpayers, are going to be burdened with the tax losses, and without addressing the underlying revenue gap, we will be possibly losing services, county services. At the same time, the bill's central promise, converting thousands of short-term rental units into long-term housing for residents, remains uncertain. UHERO and other analysis acknowledges that many property owners are unlikely to convert their units to long-term rentals. Instead, some units will likely remain vacant, be sold, or continue to function outside the intended housing market. As a result, the anticipated housing gains may not be materialized as the scale suggested. Taken together, these factors raise questions about the bill's overall approach. Bill 9 risks creating deep economic and fiscal disruptions without a clear, defined, reliable pathway to achieving its housing objectives. The lack of detailed transition plan combined with significant projected revenue losses makes this proposal highly polarized and difficult to justify from a governance standpoint. For these reasons, I continue to oppose Bill 9. UHERO's most recent economic forecast indicates that the state of Hawaii is entering into a mild recession driven largely by national economic conditions. Maui County is still recovering from vulnerable, layering the impacts of Bill 9 onto its already tragic economic risks, further harming the very residents and workers we're trying to protect. I oppose Bill 9.
Thank you. Any more? Mr. Sinensi.
Hello, Chair, for my opportunity. I too will be supporting Bill 9 today. I think Bill 9 corrects a mistake that happened years ago with the opinion to allow legal short-term rentals in the apartment zone. So I'll be voting for it. We see it all over the world, including New York, Barcelona, and Amsterdam, where they're passing similar bills like this to curb over-tourism. And those areas still see an increase in their tourism numbers. They've just been able to shift. And for us in Maui County, we should be able to shift considering the dire challenges that we have at this time. We visited other small rural communities like Seward, Alaska, Bryce Canyon, Utah, where they too are experiencing the same types of problems where with the advent of Airbnb and short-term rentals, they don't have any housing for their critical workers, nurses, teachers, and emergency personnel. And those are the people we want to keep to have a vibrant economy here in Maui County, Chair. My vote also supports future legislation to create new zoning so that we can address short-term rentals. But again, we still have over 23,000 legal short-term rentals in this county. So those of you that see that we're going to be lost of revenues, Maui County still has the largest of all the Hawaii counties in short-term rentals. So it's not like we're not taking all short-term rentals offline. We're taking 13% of those, Chair. And so for those simple reasons, I'll be supporting this bill, Chair. Thank you.
Member Rollins Fernandez.
Mahalo, Chair. I was going to follow Member U'uhajan's lead and keep it short, but Member Sugimura inspired me. So I was going to spare you, Chair, but here we go. Here's some of the bullets that we heard back in June from Mr. Matt Chakowski. 94% of units are owned by people who don't live here. That means most of the profit would flow out of Maui County anyway. TVR as a percentage in the global context, LA, total housing, 0.9% is TVR. In Boston, 1.2%. Barcelona, 2.6%. London, 3%. Maui County, 21%. Appropriateness of size. 1 to 2 bedroom was the highest demanded size according to FEMA, CNHA, Maui Halimatch after the fires. STR owners continue to say it wouldn't be appropriate for living, but people have lived there and continue to. In my 20s, when I first started college, I lived in a 2-bedroom condo. The time it would take to construct new housing in West Maui would take 30 years to build 2,375 houses or units. In South Maui, 75 years to build 2,275 units. And then speaking of timing, many families which call Hawaii their homelands leave and never return, and time is of the essence for them. Water, STRs on average, or the comparison in Mr. Jakowski's presentation, 570 gallons per day versus residential use of 128 gallons. That savings in water could allow 3,600 to 7,200 newly constructed houses. Housing affordability, UHERO's analysis projects condo prices will decrease by 25%. And this could be attainable to about 49% of Maui County residents. As testifier Mr. Cordelia concisely stated, this is about correcting systems. Government is often slow to catch up with the advancements in technology, especially when technology creates industries that grow so large and profitable that it starts creating political action committees like this one. Regarding the money, SDR tax, if half are phased out, and then with the TIG recommendations, it would be a quarter that would be phased out. About 3 or 4 years ago, the county started receiving county TAT for the first time. That's $50 to $70 million increase to our budget. Before that, the county collected about $23.4 million in TAT that the state generously gave us. And then shortly after that, we started collecting GET surcharge. 0.5% of GET, estimated at about another, I don't know, it's like 50 to 70 million. We talk about, or we've heard in testimony about HOA fees. The HOA fees increase, or the HOAs, these complexes increase the amenities to attract more tourists that would increase the common area fees, amenities that would not be necessary for residents. HOA fees also include RPT, real property taxes. Short-term rental rates are some of the highest in our RPT rates, and it often includes insurance, which is far higher when doing vacation rentals versus residential housing. We heard in committee from testifier Ms. Ness, who collected the prices during testimony in the HLU committee meetings that show that these units are not inherently expensive. They're artificially inflated. And some of these I will read from her testimony in committee. That in 1991, this one unit was $37,816. And in 2024, it inflated to $800,000. In 2014, one unit was $385,000, and in 2021, estimated at $560,000. In 2000, one unit was $215,000. In 2015, one unit was $262,000. In 2015, another unit was $185,000. In 2017, one unit was $249,000. In 2020, the unit that in 2018 was bought for $347,000 in 2020 was now inflated to $500,000. In 2001, a unit was purchased for $123,000, and in 2006 inflated to $335,000. Another unit was in 2002 was purchased for $148,000. In 2017 was increased to $375,000. So they were more affordable before 2020. And that's just a sample of the folks who testified at HLU committee. The business of STRs is often described by social media advertising as a way to make passive or semi-passive income. Ads offering to train others to make this easy money by using the equity of current units to buy more units and avoid paying taxes to the IRS. And apparently, the federal government encourages this. This is a business decision, a gamble to use money one doesn't even have. This is the commodification of necessities for our residents. We heard today all about BlackRock, and that's either a disingenuous fear tactic or they're telling on themselves. Testifiers, they care about Maui, about the people, yet letting us know in testimony that they think majority of owners will sell their units to BlackRock instead of our residents. It was yes, and we had ILW workers come, and it was the workers that were here, not the hotel or resort executives or lobbyists. Why? Because our workers need housing too. They actually live here. I was going to go over all the different housing initiatives that we've done in the last 7 years, but I'll save you this part, Chair. You're welcome.
Thank you.
And then here's the part that when I thought I would, follow Member U'uhajin's lead, I changed around what I was going to say, and this is all I was going to say, this part right here. Bill 9 is about getting closer to a quality of life we promised our residents when we campaign every other year. Profits are replaceable. Generational communities are not. We need to prioritize the people who love our home, that show up to protect our home. This bill doesn't just seek to do one thing, it intends to do all of the above. Reclaim housing, reining in tourism, conserve water, correct zoning, all of the above. Ms. Galindo's observation struck me. The difference between the testimonies is about survival. SDR owners profit off their surplus while most of our residents are just looking to remain here where their family is, where they call home. And I'd like to echo the sentiment shared by Mr. Kiakona, that this has helped to increase engagement and participation in government, which is what we need. It takes a lot for our community to be willing to rock the boat. So many in our community prioritize peace and stability. So to come out in something that has brought so much hostility takes a lot. I specifically want to mahalo Lahaina Strong, the lead organizers, Pa'ele Kiakona, Jordan Ruiz, DeAndre Makakona, Corley Lazo, and Lauren Rigo, who invested so much time and energy and mana and made so much sacrifices despite everything that they faced. I want to mahalo the mayor, his excellent administration, and Corporation Council. Mahalo, Mayor Bisson, for your fortitude and for loving our people of Maui County so much. Mahalo to my colleagues. I know you're doing your best. I love you too. Mahalo, Chair.
Other comments? Well, I have comments. Unfortunately, they don't agree with yours, which is pretty hard to express after that very passionate explanation and justification of yours. But as you know, I'm planning to vote no because from the very start, I thought that this bill was incomplete, and I still believe it's incomplete, that it changed, it morphed over time, because initially this was pitched as a housing bill to produce more housing. That's how it was pitched to us. And then, over time, it switched, and it turned out to be more where the hotels are involved and the hotel workers are involved, and to preserve the jobs for the hotel workers. And to me, the reason why it became that way is because the housing intent was no longer viable, no longer viable. And just hear me out. I said before that this bill was incomplete because as time went on, the mayor started, I shouldn't say the mayor, the administration started changing their tune about it. And what happened was, as we became aware of the monies that we would lose, which would be approximately $80 million per year, and that's not one time. And that's why you heard the testifier say, over 10 years, it's almost $8 billion. Okay, so this became a money issue. And as you know, as time went on, a TIG, a temporary investigative group, was created to figure out ways to implement the bill. Now, normally you do that first. You don't pass a bill and then figure out ways to implement it. That should have been part of the bill, and it wasn't. It was an afterthought. And that is not logical. To me, that is not logical. Number one, and secondly, there is no guarantee that that's going to be done. Now, the TIG came up with some good recommendations, all right? Now, you heard everybody talk about pass the bill clean, pass the bill clean. So no changes. So no carve-outs. But yet the TIG carves out 60% of the Minatoya list. The Minatoya list, when it came to us, it was about 6,100 units. Now, the TIG recommends that 4,500 of that 6,000 be carved out. That, in other words, they have to go and get zoning H3 or H4 in order to continue their use. But H3 and H4 doesn't exist. So there is no remedy for the people that are going to be initially affected by this bill. Now, how that makes sense, I don't know, and I don't accept it. I really don't. I would have accepted it if the TIG's recommendations were part of Bill 9. Then people would have had an opportunity to deal with the circumstances of their use being taken away. So this is the reason why, and I always approach things from a logical point of view. I try really, really hard not to be overly emotional. I think I succeed in that category. But to me, I'm trying to save money for the county. I'm trying to figure out a way that makes sense. And what I had proposed earlier was that all the money collected from the STRs should be put in West Maui to provide permanent, affordable, long-term housing. Not this broken down crack-a-box housing that's being proposed. New permanent housing. That was my suggestion, and with the idea of STRs being phased out by attrition and not amortization. So that has been my position all along. And I do, believe it or not, am very thankful for all of the testimony that has been provided in person and in writing, both for and against Bill 9, because this has been a very challenging proposal, one of the hardest that I have come across. And as I said earlier, I don't think this is going to work. I really don't. The only way it can work is if it has a mechanism of implementation. And it doesn't have it now. And we cannot predict, because some of us will not continue on the council. And we have term limits. And so does the administration. So we cannot guarantee that every planning commission is going to vote for the TIG recommendations, that future councils will vote for the TIG recommendations, that future mayors and administrations are going to vote for the TIG recommendations. And when people talk about we need housing now, don't forget, this council agreed to give people time, 3 and 5 years. So there won't be housing right away anyway. So my thinking is I wish we had more time to work on a better bill that would be feasible and viable for everyone. But it appears that time has run out, and it's time to take the vote and finish this business.
Chair.
Yes.
Mahalo. I'm sorry. Were you finished?
I wasn't, but you know what? Go ahead.
Okay. Yes, let's finish this business. I wanted to clarify for our legislative record, which will be used in court, that the TIG recommendations are not a carve-out, because words matter. It would be a zoning change that would go through its own public process. It would have to go to all the planning commissions, and then it would come back to us again, and it would give the public an opportunity to provide us their feedback on what it is. Carve-outs are not in this bill itself. And while this is not right away, it's far less than 50 and 75 years, which is the estimate for constructing new housing in West and South Maui, as estimated in my previous remarks. So just for the legislative record. Mahalo, Chair.
Did you say 50 or 5?
50. 50 to build the 2,700 in West Maui.
It would take 50 years to build 2,700 units? Is that what you said?
And then 75 years for 2,200 houses or units in South Maui. And that is if we even have water to build there. As you know, West Maui doesn't have water, as we keep fighting for pulelehua.
Okay, I didn't mean to say carve-outs in the literal sense, but people can see that the TIG and other members of this council agree that at least 4,500 units should be in a different category and should apply for the zoning when it becomes available, okay? But that goes to show you, if 4,500 units, properties, apply for and get the H3, H4 zoning, that leaves only 1,500, yeah, left. And that 1,500, not all are going to become available for purchase. A portion, if probably a third or more, will be held by the owners for their own use and become owner-occupant, an owner-occupant tax classification. The other 2/3 of the 1,500 would be either used for long-term rentals, and if we're talking about half, we're talking about maybe 500 for long-term rentals, and the other balance would be used to sell. People would want to sell their units. And as you know, that might be a problem if you wanted to get a loan. But most people would have to probably buy by cash, using cash. But my whole point is, there's not going to be that many units left for affordable housing, which really undercuts the original intent. And that was my point. Member Cook.
Thank you, Chair. For my second and final, and I'll try and be brief, I very much support the TIG. I think the TIG's recommendations, and I believe that this body will continue with that proposal. I'm advocating that we utilize the TAT money for affordable housing, for workforce housing, for local housing, and that after this bill, we diligently work on that to have a path forward to maintain our economy and to build homes for local residents. Thank you.
Thank you. And I hope you're exaggerating about how long it takes to do affordable housing in this county.
No, I was quoting the analysis that was provided to us back in June in committee, HLU committee, based on the number of units that would be phased out in West Maui and South Maui, based on just the average amount of time that it's taken to construct all the, different houses and like the amount that you said, I think you said like 1,100, because that's also not a guarantee, because it would have to go through its public process. The 4,000 is not a guarantee, and the 1,100 is more than 288 that the Wailea 670 would build.
Which is not on the agenda.
If it ever gets there, too.
Yeah. Vice Chair Sugimura.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks. I just wanted to make a clarification as the testifiers were speaking about the fear of the people in FEMA housing that they would lose their housing in 2026. So I asked Makalapua, who all of us know, and she's a FEMA representative, and she said that's a rumor. There's no final determination that people are going to be evicted in February 2026, but it is under review. Thank you.
All right. Ready for the vote? Roll call.
Vice Chair Sugimura.
No.
Councilmember Paulton.
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
Councilmember Rollins Fernandez.
Aye.
Councilmember Cook.
No.
Councilmember Hodgins.
Aye.
Councilmember Sinensi.
Aye.
And Chair Lee.
No.
Chair, you have 5 ayes, 3 noes. Motion carries.
Okay, very good. And this meeting is adjourned.